Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I loved it.
My name's Jay Milne. Hashtag Blue.
Our sports update deliverer, the Coop.
I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up today.
You know what, Reid? You might be honest.
All right, here's what's going on in the Nasty Cup.
It's the best hits of today and yesterday. Station CROK, where our rock ain't no crock. Along with Jason Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. How are you doing? Okay, so this is the song we've been using, but not the song we've been using. What's the story there?
Yeah, so T-Buds, the singer of The Heavies, sent me, they re-recorded that album. Scrap Steel Money is the name of the song. You can find it on YouTube Music. Just search The Heavies, Heaveys, The Heavies.
Not quite grammatically correct, but that's okay in rock music.
That's part of the shtick.
Yes. Yeah.
Neither is Def Leppard.
No.
Grammatically correct.
I mean, neither is I can't get no satisfaction. If you came up to me in public and said I can't get no satisfaction, I would be horrified. If you sing it in a song about not getting satisfaction, then it's cool. I tolerate bad grammar in rock and roll.
It's part of rock and roll.
It's part of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't doing nothing.
Screw you.
Yeah.
Screw y'all.
Well, we are certainly the youth gone wild.
Aren't we?
I don't know why I worked in a Skid Row reference there. Hope you're doing well, everybody. Along with Jason Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. It is the Reid Wilkins Show on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, presented by Play Alberta. Jay's back after having Friday off. He did work last night as the Edmonton Elks were, I'm trying to pick a word.
Oh, I've got several.
They were destroyed, quite frankly, by the British Columbia Lions. The Edmonton Oilers have rounded out their coaching staff. We're going to have some comments from head coach Kris Knoblauch when we get to the Oil Understood, presented by GCL Diesel. That's coming up at about 20 after 3. But here are the Coles notes from this. The assistant coach will be Paul McFarland. Paul Coffey returns to his role as special advisor to ownership and hockey operations. So he's no longer on the coaching staff, will no longer be on the bench, anything like that. So Paul McFarland is an assistant coach. The three guys on the bench, there'll just be three, not four, will be Knoblauch. Mark Stewart is back, and Paul McFarland will be on the bench. The new goaltending coach, as Dustin Schwartz did not get a contract extension offer, Peter Aubry will be the goaltending coach, 48 years of age. And the new skills coach will be Conor Allen. So those are the notes there. Video coach Noah Seagal will be back. And like I said, we'll have some comments from Kris Knoblauch throughout we'll have them in the Oil Understood, and we might throw in other ones throughout the course of the afternoon. But that's the headline there for the Oilers, as we kind of, it's been reported for a while, but the Oilers confirming it today. New goaltending coach, Paul Coffey, not going to be back on the bench. And I think Jay, and I was talking about this earlier, I was on with Hernan and I was on with Dustin as well. To me, it's now Knoblauch, I guess to me, a combination of Knoblauch and Bowman. These are the guys they want. These are the guys that they picked, as opposed to. I mean, Gulletson did a great job, and now he's a hit. But he was like from 4 coaches ago.
Yeah. I'm sure for Knoblauch, this is a welcome opportunity,
Right.
to be in the process of selecting your guys, because that's something very interesting about professional sports and coaching in particular. Because a lot of times coaches are fired and hired,
Right.
but staff stay the same or they don't change till the off season. So you're working with people that you necessarily didn't choose, which would be very odd. You make the best of it, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think this is a big deal. Although the names aren't, necessarily household names, I think this is a good start in the right direction.
They're all experienced.
Yes.
I mean, various levels of pro, junior, as you would expect from coaches. If you want me to predict how they're going to do today, okay, let's see when they get working with the player. I mean, you're looking for that right mix, right?
Yes.
Or a new voice. I know I was talking with Dustin about the power play. Despite the power play being only 12th this past season, this era of the Oilers is in possession of the deadliest power play in the history of hockey, despite having a somewhat off year this past season. Does that mean Glenn Gulletson couldn't coach it anymore? I don't think so, but I also think, okay, Gulletson's gone, have somebody else run the power play. Maybe there's a new idea. Maybe there's a tweak. Maybe it's the same strategy with a different messaging or different terminology or a different mindset going onto the ice. I mean, I don't think Paul McFarland is going to come in and say, "Hey guys, Leon, you're never to one-time a puck again from the off wing." I mean, that's absurd. And I know everybody gets, not everybody, but a lot of people get mad at me and say they can't keep doing that, Reid. Yes, they can keep doing it. Okay, they can keep doing it,
And they will.
and they will, and they should. But there may be other things. I threw out the idea there with Dustin. What about Wallman and Bush on the power play? And Nuge goes to the second unit. What about Bush a little more towards the left wing for a one-timer and Wallman's at the top? Who knows? There might be some idea like that. So, but we'll have some comments from Kris Knoblauch as we move along. We're pretty excited. So Jay and I, it's great. Jay and I have known each other a little over a year now. Show's coming up on a year. We're over 10 months, which is pretty awesome. But Jay and I have a lot of the same philosophy, is that we like local sports. We like great stories. And the beauty thing about this job is you can tell those stories. So during the playoffs, there was a day in which a lot of you were up on, I can't remember what game it was. I think it was the Vegas or the Dallas series. Somebody was unhappy. There were calls, missed calls, whatever. And people were unhappy about the refs. And we were diving into that. And we got a text from Chris Critch, longtime WHL ref, who's going to be on Thursday. And he was kind of like, man, these people don't even understand. And Jay and I said, let's do in the summer, let's do ref week. Let's find officials from a variety of sports and have them tell their stories.
Yep.
How do you handle tough situations? How did you get to be where you are? What kind of a mindset do you have to be in? What physical condition do you be in? Where do you travel? How do you keep sharp? And a big question, how do you encourage younger people to become an official in your sport of choice? Because I do think that's the problem. Jay isn't always a fan of refs. But do you have a different attitude towards amateur refs than professional refs?
100%. Professional refs are paid.
Right.
That's part of the...
You're not the yell at the 11-year-old kid who's learning the rules of the game himself along with the players.
No, if anything, you're just trying to say, hey, like I've told this story, but there's instances that arise where you can just interject and say, hey, this is how it should have went. This is what it should have been. Next time, do that.
Right.
Next time, be better. That's really all you can do, because if you're constantly bombarding these referees and yelling at them and saying how stupid that call was and how idiotic of you, well, guess what? They're not going to want to do it. They don't want to hear from loudmouth, armchair quarterbacks sitting on the sideline telling them how to do their job.
Right.
So, but it'll be interesting to see how different it is from, say, baseball to basketball to football to see what the future looks like.
You know what's interesting too, and we have a baseball umpire on today, Corrie Davis, Edmontonian, umping for over 40 years. Started, I think, before he was even a teenager. We'll clarify the timeline. But there are also different cultures to how you argue with refs or umps in different sports.
Yep.
You know, I've talked about how in basketball, the game can be going on and the coach can even step on the floor and go up to the ref's shoulder and have his or her say.
Yep.
And sometimes that becomes heated. Baseball has the whole coming out of the dugout thing, right? And I know sometimes, I don't know if Corey will, how much he'll have to say about this, but I've even seen it in the majors where like there's a close call and the ump will just look over to the dugout, almost like,
what do you got to say?
What are you going to say? You know, you're probably mad, so I'm ready for it. And then baseball has the whole histrionics around throwing guys out, you know, like the whole Earl. Well, I think Bobby Cox eventually had. So anyway, but we want to talk about that individual's journey. I mean, tomorrow we're going to have Karen Lasuk, who has reffed basketball in the Olympics. It's a big deal.
Huge.
So we want to say, how did you get to be where you are? How do we help younger people get to where you are or enjoy being an official? How do you deal with tense situations? And I think we want to talk with certainly a sport like hockey is the highest profile sport in the country. And this is why it's great to have Kris on later in the week. How do you handle it when you're listening to a talk show and refs are getting criticized and you know the people don't understand the rule?
Yeah.
Like, do you change the channel? Do you not bother? Or do you text into the show as he did that one day, which we appreciated?
Very much so.
So anyway, we're going to have Ref Week this week, which we think is going to be, I think it's going to be super interesting. And I also think a lot of, the people we're talking to like have risen in their sport. So that's another thing we remember. A lot of these are in several cases, local success stories, but I think that we want to recognize the commitment and work that can go into this too. You don't just get handed a whistle and then 2 years later you're in the NHL or doing the Olympics. So that's coming up. We're going to do that likely at 4:00 every day. We may have to tweak one or two depending on availability, but the ones we have lined up so far are all going to be at 4:00. So Ref Week, that's pretty good. The other thing we would like to discuss is last night's football game on Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium.
Was there a football game there?
Well, one team played.
I saw one team
quite well.
Yeah. Usually a game involves two teams playing. Funny, I must have missed that. Because, oh boy. That was ugly, Reid.
That was, BC, there's not a single area of the game you could give the Elks a check mark in. You know what? Blanchard's making all his kicks now. He had 2 extra points. He made them.
Yep.
Grace's punting, I would say, is above average.
They are good in terms of special teams. They are.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That was about it.
The Elks have been, I think, not a very good special teams team going back a long way.
Quite a ways.
Even Moss's last couple of years, from what I remember. So that aside, they can't move the ball. I guess it boils down to this. The Elks can't move the ball, and they can't stop the other team from moving the ball. You're kind of screwed as a football team.
That is a bad combination. That is a terrible combination. Look, the game was what it was. It was brutal. I mean, this fan base, this organization has seen some ugly losses, particularly in the last 9 years. And even more so recently.
Yeah.
Does that one not feel like one of the worst that you've witnessed in recent history, Reid?
Well, there have been a few over the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, certainly since coming out of COVID. And as I often say, the last year and a half under Moss in 18 and 19, they weren't very good. And as we often talk about bigger picture going back to 06, it hasn't been a great franchise. So at least there have been a great cup.
There was a great cup.
And some other teams that were maybe good but not great. That was pretty bad last night. At 10-0, I kind of felt the game was over. At 10-0 BC.
Well, I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but essentially the game was over when Trey Ford threw that interception to Stephen Dunbar.
Right.
Well, not to Stephen Dunbar. That would have been a completion for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But it's just a terribly thrown ball. And that was one of several throughout the night. Now, I'll give Trey credit. He took the blame. He pointed the finger at himself, as he should. That was simply not good enough. And I think the reason that this hurt so much, or it was just such a surprise that the effort was just simply not there, was that the week prior, Trey Ford had a perfect quarterback efficiency passer rating.
Right.
Perfect. He was 15 to 17, 212 yards, 2 tutties. He was great. And then to come back last night and lay that stinker, 4 of 12 for 34 yards and an INT. Reid, he was percentage points away from registering a 0% passer efficiency rating. He was literally 3% away from registering a 0% in the CFL.
Yeah.
That's simply not good enough. I would have went with Cody Fajardo right at the start of the second half. I would have said, okay, this game's, it's hardly in reach at this point. Let's see if we can get a spark with Fajardo.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They held strong with Trey Ford, who continued to do nothing. Now, is this on Trey Ford a lot? Yeah. Is this on Jordan McSimic? Heck yeah. Reid, they rushed the ball 4 times in the first half.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. It was 7 yards, but that's not the point of it. You need to continue with a game plan. That's why you have a game plan. You know why? You know why you have these coaches meeting and you have a game plan? Is so you don't deviate from it. So you can look at this sheet of paper and say, okay, here's the game plan. Duh, stick with it. That was not the case last night. I don't know what that was. And football is such a game of emotional highs and lows that when you miss on those emotional highs early in the game, it snowballs. And it seems to snowball a lot more aggressively for this team.
Yeah.
They can't handle those swings. If Trey Ford throws the ball anywhere but where he threw it to Stephen Dunbar last night, if he leads him across the field like a good quarterback would, that's a touchdown. And B, who knows what happens to the game at that point? Who knows? Speaking of emotion, there was none of it on the field. There was nobody emotionally, I don't care. Come off this field and throw your helmet into the 20th row. Show somebody that you give a damn. Anybody. But there was nothing. And in the game of football, I'm sorry, you have to have emotion. It needs to be in check, but you need that emotion.
We'll talk more about this game as we move along throughout the course of the afternoon, because I think that, they were so bad yesterday. I don't think there's an area that somebody could criticize where I could say that's off base. Like the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup final, but I don't think you could say they need a new number 1 center. Like they have Connor. And I know there's been coaching, players, quarterback, GM, all of that kind of stuff. You can find an argument for all of those. You could probably have debates over which is the number 1 culprit, or exactly what's going to have the biggest impact. I think generally the biggest impacts that you can have within an organization are changing GM and or coach and or coaching staff. I do not think that's going to happen with the Elks because they're all 5 games into this tenure. And again, I'm not saying you can't criticize those areas, because you can say, why did Ed sign this guy who's not doing this? You could say, why aren't the coaches? But I don't think they're going to do something that extreme this early in the season. So then what do you go down to? Change the quarterback.
Well, and here's the thing. That was the worst game of the season by a mile for Trey Ford. Reid, last night on the postgame show, I said, start Cody Fajardo. In thinking about it, last year, Trey Ford had the same very poor game against Winnipeg at home.
Yeah.
They went back out to Winnipeg for a rematch. It was a back-to-back home and home. And they gave the ball to MBT. And I said, that's not the right thing to do. You should have given Trey a chance to redeem himself. So I do think there is an opportunity here for Trey Ford to redeem himself after the bye week. But the leash is short now, and it's made of chain.
And the sad part is we're already talking about the playoffs as quite a long shot.
Yeah, it's awful.
They're 1-4, and this isn't 1-4 and on the cusp. This isn't 1-4 and we're waiting for 4 players to get back from injury and then we're going to roll. This is 1-4, and you deserve that record.
Yes,
this is, you've gotten beaten soundly by 3 times by 2 really good teams. You got beaten in the fourth quarter by a really good team, and you beat, quite frankly, probably another lousy team. So, you're running out of options on how you win games here. So anyway, 1-4. I mean, you probably have to win at least 8 to get in. I mean,
and they're a third of the way, almost
conservatively.
a third of the way through the season.
Right. So could the Elks go 7-6 in their final 13 games?
Not that
Where
team.
are the 7 wins? Yeah.
Not that team we saw.
All right. We'll talk more about that. You can get in touch, of course. You can email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. If you're taking us in on YouTube, now you don't have to go into the YouTube. If you're on the audio streams, that's fine. iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, great apps to connect with us. But if you're on YouTube, you can speak in the nasty chat with us, with other people. Good stuff going on in there. We often don't respond to that stuff. You guys can kind of moderate yourselves. Give us a thumbs up if you're there as well. We try to get to 100 minimum every show. And you can text 780-218-9999. The afternoon inbox presented by River Curb Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. What's tonight? The home run derby in baseball? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. Will I watch it? Probably not.
Why not?
I don't know. My interest in baseball has waned over the
The
years.
home run derby is the best part of the
they
entire
just
baseball
sit there,
season,
they sit
except
there and hit.
except the postseason.
Yeah, postseason's good.
Postseason's fun.
So it's the home run derby, but it's it's a made for the fans, made for TV type of thing, which is fine. So our off-topic topic for William Huff since 1952. William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. What event would you like to see at an all-star game? Any sport, doesn't have to be baseball. What event would you like to see at an all-star game?
Well, I was just thinking baseball off the start, but I've got some others, like sliding catches, like trick catches from outfielders,
Right.
where you just hit blooper balls and they have to come in and make like either a screeching,
Behind the back.
make it as entertaining as possible. It's judged like the dunk contest, or at the fence catches. Now, I don't know how you would do it.
You have to pad the fence.
But those
or
are
something. Yeah.
those are some of the most electric moments in a baseball game.
Yeah.
Is when somebody climbs the wall. Wasn't it Bo Jackson that actually ran up the wall and came back down?
Oh
in
yeah, it
Kansas
looked
City?
like he ran the wall. Yeah,
Right. So something
Bo
like
made,
that.
I think that, and he made a barehanded, like he overran a shot to the corner, and he reached back behind his head and caught it barehanded, I believe.
Bo Jackson
Stuff
was
like
simply
that, yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But even in football, you could do like a punt pass kick.
Yeah.
Literally, where you have, because they used to do that in the Pro Bowl. They used to have a long ball throw.
Oh, did they?
And you'd see
Just how
guys
far can you
ripping
throw it?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's awesome. I'd like to see something involving their dogs. Like I know at the Oilers skills competition, they have the rough relay.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd like to see maybe a trick catch by a dog or something where the human has to do something. So it'd be like, a guy has to steal a base and then grab a Frisbee and throw it into the outfield and his dog has to run and catch it and it's all timed or the distance. Or it's like,
That would be good.
or, Josh Allen has to throw a ball through a hoop, 20 yards away, and then he has to get a tennis ball and lob it to his dog.
That would be exciting.
Stuff like that.
What about a tip-in competition?
In hockey?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
That would be fun.
With your dog or without your dog?
Well, you'd have to tip it through the dog's legs. Or something like...
Does a dog have a 10-hole because he has 4 legs?
something spark. But imagine if you could tip it into targets. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool. Instead of the accuracy shooting, it'd be the actually tipping.
And
So
you
you
gotta
got to tip
it
some
top
along the ice
shelf.
and some you have to tip
Yeah.
top shelf.
That'd be a
That
good
would be
one.
pretty fun too. All right, so we want to hear from you on that one, the off-topic topic for William Huff. What event would you like to see at an all-star game? Not well, it can be baseball, but we're not limiting it to baseball because of the home run derby tonight. Any sport, what event would you like to see at an all-star game? So we have Ref Week coming up at 4. Corrie Davis, 41 years as an umpire. We're going to get to know him a little bit. Jay's Play of the Day for Play Alberta coming up at 3:40. We have the Oil Understood, some comments from Kris Knoblauch when we get back for GCL Diesel.
Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and Conor Allen have been added to the Oilers coaching staff. Dustin Schwartz being let go as the team's goalie coach, while Paul Coffey moves to the special advisory role for hockey operations and ownership. McFarland heads behind the bench to become the team's assistant. Aubry takes over as a goalie coach, while Allen comes in as a skills coach. Elsewhere, 18-year-old Victor Eklund has signed his entry-level deal with the Islanders after being picked 16th overall at the most recent draft, while in the association, 21-year-old Spurs superstar Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to play after being limited to just 46 games last year due to blood clots. In football, the Jets have extended Garrett Wilson to a 4-year deal worth $130 million, the 24-year-old having $90 million guaranteed. In other news, longtime Blue Jay Jim Clancy has passed away at the age of 69. Clancy spending 12 of his 15 major league seasons in Toronto, finishing his career second in franchise starts, innings pitched, and complete games for the Jays. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years. Their West End showroom is open 7 days a week. You can also shop online at ParamountFlooring.ca. The oil understood for GCL Diesel is next on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Jason Milne, Reid Wilkins, Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Jay will have his play of the day.
You know it.
It's no more chuck wagons.
Dang it. Well, Chance Vegan won, too.
Chance Vegan won.
The Elks really screwed up everything last night.
How?
Dusty and I had a banger of a play. It was the all for Alberta play. It was the Stamps to upset in Regina, which they did.
They did.
It was the Elks to upset last night, and Chance Vegan to win the Stamp area, the Rangeland Derby.
Oh, wow.
Brutal.
Chance Vegan did win. I couldn't find the Derby replay on YouTube.
No?
No, oddly enough. Where is Vegan from?
I don't know.
I don't even look. Chance Vegan, WPCA website. Oh, he's from Calgary. Oh, good for him.
This one's a good one. Sickler sends this in. Horse in the NBA. That would be good.
That's not a bad idea.
You'd have a lot of trick shots coming out for sure.
Yeah. Didn't they do something in the NBA All-Star game where it was an NBA player, a WNBA player, and a celebrity, and they had to shoot from different parts of the court? And it was like, oh, this shot's worth 4, this shot's worth 7. Because didn't Urkel do it one year, Jaleel White? He was at an Oilers game a couple of years ago.
Man, he's been trying to get away from Urkel for a long time. Hey?
Well, he'll always be Urkel.
I know. Like, is that one of the most typecast situations you've ever seen?
Yeah, because how old would have he been? Probably not. I don't know if he would have
probably
actually,
older than you
probably
think.
Older than the character.
He's probably like 15, 16.
Jaleel White he was born in 76, so he's now 48. When was he on Family Matters?
Yeah, so he's definitely older than what?
Oh, no, it says he was 12 when he started doing Urkel.
I guess started, but that show had quite a run.
Family Matters was on from 89 to 98, yeah.
That's pretty long.
So he was born in 76. Family Matters started in 89, so he probably hadn't quite turned 13 yet.
So wait, he would have been 21 when it was stopped?
Yeah. By the time the series ended in 98, White, who was then 21, was disillusioned with the role and had been shaken by the death of his close friend and co-star Michelle Thomas, who had a form of stomach cancer. He stated in a 1999 interview, "If you ever see me do that character again, take me out and put a bullet in my head and put me out of my misery."
He did not say that.
White was so tightly defined by his Urkel character that he encountered difficulty finding other roles. In 1999, he addressed the bullet quote, saying, "It's one of those things that's very unfortunate how quotes are taken out of context. I remember that interview very vividly. I loved playing those characters, but the fact is I was maturing. To be honest, I was retarding my own growth as a man to maintain the authenticity as to what I thought the character should be." Yeah. Well, that would be tough. Like, yeah, he's always going to be known for that. And you're right, that would help him. That would be hard to get other roles, because even if you saw him in another role,
Right.
it's like, oh, that's the guy who played Urkel.
Yeah. That's
And he cheers for the Oilers. The Oilers are his favorite team.
This comes in from Dry Fly Mustache Guy. Last night's game was like hooking onto a sucker. It sucked.
That's the punchline is that the punchline is obvious.
It's obvious.
Who wrote that?
Dry Fly Mustache Guy.
Have we talked to him before?
He's getting,
Have I met him?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if he's been at any
Dry
events.
Fly Mustache Guy. Can you read that text again? That's epic.
Last night's game was like hooking onto a sucker. It sucked.
It sucked. Okay. Well, that's true. It sucked for the Elks. If you were a Lions fan, that was epic. You're just watching your offense march the ball down the field the entire game.
Yeah, what fish was that like, Dry Fly Mustache Guy? The BC Lions offense. Shark?
Yeah, I guess. All right. Jasmine in the nasty chat. What is it? Love Island tonight? Oh, Bachelor in Paradise is also on tonight. Thank you, Jasmine.
Oh, thanks.
There's a lot of stuff I wouldn't know if not for Jasmine. Well, I don't know what Bachelor in Paradise is, but apparently it's on tonight.
Never seen it.
Is that a TV show?
I would imagine it has to do with the show The Bachelor.
Is it a YouTube show?
Yeah, whatever happened to Pros versus Joes anyways?
Oh, I don't know. I never
That was
really
a
watched
great
that.
show.
That's where a bunch of average people would try to do things that pro athletes can do.
They'd compete against pro athletes.
Well, they would actually compete against them.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched that.
Remember Kevin Green was on that one?
The linebacker?
Yeah. Just lighting people up.
Jeez. Oh, so you had to run by Kevin Green and not get tackled?
Yeah.
Like you'd be dead. Like these people could kill you.
They may have.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's no longer on.
There's too many liability issues. What was that show? Was it Joe Schmo? I watched this where it was a reality show, but it was a fake reality show, and everybody knew that except for one guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember what channel. I think I used to watch it in Lloyd, like early 2000, because I think Survivor was getting popular,
Right.
All that kind of stuff. I think it was called Joe Schmo. So it's like you all go to this house and, Big Brother-esque, and you got to do challenges, and it was engineered so he would win, right? But all along it was sort of scripted. Okay, he'll probably do this. He'll probably do this. And I think it was called Joe Schmo. I don't think I watched it to the end though. It was one of those. It was interesting for 2 or 3 episodes, and it's like, okay,
Should do that in our
I
office.
with how? With who?
Who's the schmo?
Or just bring somebody in? Well, maybe we're the schmoes.
Maybe this is all.
Maybe once we hit a year, Dusty's going to be like, "Yes, this is a reality show to see if you guys can do it for a year."
Bye.
We tried to derail you, didn't work. Let's do the oil understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. All right. So we do have some very relevant and prominent Oilers news today. They have named their coaching staff. They add Paul McFarland as an assistant coach, most recently head coach in the WHL with the Calgary Hitmen. Peter Aubry is the new goaltending coach. He'd been with Nebraska Omaha in the NCAA. He had been in the NHL with the Chicago Blackhawks as their developmental goaltending coach and the goalie coach of their AHL affiliate in Rockford. And Conor Allen is the team's new skills coach. Let's start with the one a lot of people are talking about, that change of the goaltender coach. And here's Oilers head coach Kris Knoblauch.
First of all, Dustin Schwartz has been with the organization for a long time, and I think he is an excellent coach. And I think is a very, very difficult decision to make that change. But in the organization, we're always looking at ways that we can get better, whether that's better on the power play, better on a 5-on-5 play or defensive group, whatever it is. And we're looking for ways to push our goaltenders and make them better. And, overall, there's times where they were exceptional. And there was other times where we were wanting a little bit more from them. And, I just think with Peter, he'll be able to push those guys and, bring a different perspective and hopefully, elevate them to get those guys to play at their best more often. So, I think Peter's been a guy that's spent a lot of time working in the pro. He's been in the American League for many years. Last couple of years has been down at the college level, but I think he's been, ready for an opportunity like this, and we feel that this is the time.
All right, so. And you got to remember with Peter Aubry, he'd been with the Blackhawks while Bowman was there, right? So some connections there. I'm not going to redo the Dustin Schwartz debate. Okay, we've done it a lot. He's been let go. Some people will rejoice in that. I don't rejoice in somebody losing their job.
Never.
But I also understand in the NHL, it's not about making people feel good. It's about trying to win the Stanley Cup. The Oilers have decided that Peter Aubry will give them a better chance to do that. He's an experienced goaltending coach. Like I said, with the Chicago organization, we'll see how he does. I think it is on the two goaltenders, Skinner especially, who had a subpar year, to also play better and be open to having a new coach and be open to pushing themselves. And certainly in Skinner's case, bouncing back. So there we go. That's one of the big storylines coming out of today. Also, Paul Coffey, not on the staff anymore after about a year and 3/4 of being on the bench. More from Knoblauch on Coffey, and then just some other comments about the staff.
I still feel that we'll still have conversations with Paul, and Paul will still give us his impact or his insight on how the team's playing and what we could be doing, which will be a great benefit for our coaching staff, especially with so many new guys coming in. And so now with Paul stepping away, that role, that traditional defensive coach, Mark Stewart is going to slide into that position. So Mark's going to be in charge of the penalty kill and the defenseman. Those are his two main responsibilities. Paul McFarland, who's coming in, will be in charge of the power play, among other things, but that'll be his primary responsibility. And then, of course, there's Peter Aubry, who's coming in as being our goaltending coach.
Okay, so McFarland to do the power play. Gulletson was doing that. Stewart continues working on the PK. I mean, overall, PK wasn't good. I was surprised. Dustin said he was surprised when he looked up. PK was 16th in the regular season. Now, to be fair, they would have bursts where it's like, oh, they've killed off 16 of 18, and then they'd have 3 or 4 bad games in a row. Kind of the same thing in the playoffs, especially early in series. They were bad. They did get better, especially in the first 3 rounds later in series. But overall, the penalty kill, I would say, was a negative last season. Maybe not a massive negative, but overall, I'd say it was a negative. Here's Knoblauch on the PK.
There will be changes to our system. We will be doing things a little bit differently. And there's some things that we can do. Obviously we see what other teams are doing, and we'll, exactly what we want. We've got a pretty good idea, but there's a lot of, conversations, a lot of analyzing what other teams are doing, and then having those conversations within the coaching staff and moving forward. So I know Mark Stewart has started that process. Obviously he's very familiar with what other teams have done already, but also finding out what type of team we'd have, what penalty killers we'd have going into the next season, and then deciding exactly what that system would be.
All right. So again, here's how he started.
There will be changes to our system. We will be doing.
So he's recognized we can't do that same thing with the funneling, with the guy going out to the point. It's funny. We've heard a lot of, other teams have figured out the Oilers PP. I think that's way more concerning than maybe other teams have figured out the Oilers PK, sure. and or they didn't have the personnel to do it. There might be some changes. Brown's out, Manje Pane's on the team, probably going to kill penalties. Maybe some other tweaks as well, but I think it's telling, because sometimes when coaches are asked something in the offseason, it's always, well, we'll see. And he said a little bit of the we'll see, but he led the clip by saying we have to make some pretty fundamental changes here to how we do things.
Yeah, and I wonder, because I talked to you about this earlier, like how much do these coaching changes really mean? In the day-to-day of relationships with players, I don't know how much are you going to make Connor McDavid 5% better at hockey? Probably not. But systems, fundamentals, change of pace. I mean, in the case of Peter Aubry, I mean, going in as the goaltending coach, I mean, maybe just switching it up so you're not having to do the same thing over and over again. Just a little bit of a tweak on the penalty kill, like you said. Having a new voice of the power play. Because I got news for you, like you said off the top, it's not going to dramatically change. But maybe a new voice with a few different ideas might spur on something that might change it or tweak it enough to open up some other lanes, right?
Right.
I don't think this is we've got to improve the skill level of these NHL caliber players.
Right.
But systems, absolutely, 100%. And like we said, Kris Knoblauch never had the choice to put his team together in terms of his coaching staff.
Right.
So this is I think a big day for this organization.
Right. And I mean, further, when we'll really get to evaluate these people once the season starts and they start playing. I asked Knoblauch, all right, who's going to be on the bench now?
On the bench, we're going to have one less coach on the bench. It'll be Paul McFarland will be helping with the forwards. He'll be on the bench. And then also Mark Stewart will be on the bench with us. So the only new hire that we've had, I guess, Conor Allen, we haven't talked about Conor Allen. His role will be more on individual player development, more skill-based coached. And he'll be a full-time coach. He'll be traveling with the team, but he'll be more of an eye in the sky during games. And then Peter will also be a traditional goalie coach role.
All right, so it's just three guys on the bench. So Dustin made this point earlier too. They're kind of not replacing Coffey,
right?
It's in some ways, but that's how they're going to be deployed on the bench. So yeah, significant announcement today. Confirming some things we kind of already knew with Schwartz not being back. They have named the new guys. McFarland's still relatively young. Paul McFarland is 39. Peter Aubry is 48. And Conor Allen, the skills coach, is 35. I wonder if... So McFarland would have been on Hackstall's staff, right, for some of his time in Seattle. And Knoblauch was on Hackstall's staff in Philadelphia. I wonder if Hackstall gave a recommendation for McFarland, too. Just wondering. Could have happened. Just throwing that out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Little connections,
We'll have more comments from Knoblauch as we move along throughout the course of the show. More discussion on the Oilers. Ref Week starts at 4 o'clock with longtime umpire Corrie Davis. We'll talk more about your Edmonton Elks as well. Where do they go after that horrible loss to the Lions yesterday? Jay's play of the day for Play Alberta coming up. Here's the Coop.
The Oilers shakes things up by adding Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and Conor Allen to their coaching staff. Paul Coffey being shifted back to an advisor role. Aubry taking over as the goalie coach with Dustin Schwartz being let go. And Allen steps in to become a skills coach, McFarland becoming the assistant. Out east, the Islanders have signed this year's 16th overall pick, Victor Eklund, to his entry-level contract. While on the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from a blood clot issue that limited him to just 46 games last season. And even with the shortened season, the 21-year-old led the league in blocks. NFL news sees 24-year-old Garrett Wilson signing for 4 years with the Jets out in New York. worth a total of $130 million, $90 million guaranteed. Elsewhere, longtime Jays pitcher Jim Clancy has passed away. Clancy spending 12 of his 15 major league seasons with the Jays, being an all-star in 1982. Clancy was 69 years old. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists, and you're stuck with a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Call them at 780-460-9977 or visit their website at advantagesportmed.ca to book an appointment today. Jays Play of the Day is up next for Play Alberta. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. From about 5 to 8 yesterday wasn't overly pleasant. We'll touch on that as later on in the show. Some Art Walk stuff. We both had family members in Art Walk.
We did.
Who I think both had pretty good weekends, which was nice. Of course, I went to Def Leppard on Friday. I know I've talked a little bit about it, but I might expand on it later on in the show. Ref Week is going to start at 4 o'clock, so in about 12 or 13 minutes with longtime local umpire Corrie Davis. I talked a bit to Corrie on Friday. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this. Maybe I'll joke with him like, hey, Corrie, we were going to get a robot to do the interview instead, but we decided to get a real ump. We got to ask him about that. Some of this stuff going
absolutely.
on with the balls and the strikes. But let's bring you Jay's... Well, I got to do the song. Hang on. It's Jay's Play of the Day for Play Alberta.
It's Jay, it's Play, he's Jay, it's today. It's Jay's Play of the Day. It's Jay's Play of the Day. Jay's Play of the Day.
Play Alberta, your home for online gaming excitement featuring casino games, live dealer action, lottery, instance, and sports betting. Now with the new Play Alberta app, you can take the fun with you anywhere. Download the app or sign up today at playalberta.ca.
Well, Reid,
What?
why not? Why not go to the Home Run Derby?
Oh, my.
Why not? I did some research on this, Reid. Well, I do research on every play of the day.
Okay.
And I think there's some really good value here. This has been floating around the internet. I've seen it at a minus number. I've seen it as low as minus 125. Play Alberta had it on their site at plus 110. But you know them. They're the good people of Play Alberta. They boosted this to plus 120. Byron Buxton to make the semifinals of the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby.
Okay.
He's got 21 home runs this year, but he's got fewer at-bats this season than every competitor in the Derby, yet he's hit more home runs than 4 of the 7 other competitors. So his at-bat hitting percentage is home run per at-bat sits 3rd highest amongst the field, even though he ranks 4th in home runs.
All right.
Okay? So Byron Buxton. And the other thing I like too is this is not a bracket. This is a first round.
Okay.
Then it goes to individual brackets. So all he has to do is make it past the first round. Be one of the top 4 out of 8 at plus 120. And then he makes the semifinals. And that is a bracket. It's 1v4, 2v3. So that's over at playalberta.ca. Go over there, click on EST specials, and you will see prominently displayed Jay's Play of the Day, Byron Buxton, making it to the semifinal round.
Okay, so I do you know how it's working? The contestants get 40 pitches that have to be thrown in 3 minutes or less. Then they can also call a timeout for 45 seconds. After that time expires, they get a bonus period where now they hit as many home runs as possible before recording 3 outs, which is a swing that's not a homer. And if they hit a home run that travels at least 425 feet during the bonus period, they get an additional out to work with.
Byron Buxton hits moonshots.
Okay.
He's got a big bat.
So they don't get, so in the first 3 minutes, it's just home runs. They don't get extra time.
That's right.
If they hit a long one. But then in the bonus period, if his first 3 home runs go if he goes 3 swings, 3 450 feet home runs, he's now up to 6 outs.
You know it.
My goodness. Okay. And then in the semifinals, though, it's head to head.
Yes.
So
which I don't mind.
So in the semifinals, you could hit 1 home run and make the final if the guy you're against hits 0. I know that's unlikely.
And that's why I like this format, this bet of just making the semifinals.
Right.
Because he's just got to be top 4 out of 8.
Yes.
And the long ball gets rewarded. The big shots.
Right. Then in the final, the time is shortened to 2 minutes. And then the rest is the same. Tiebreaker is a 60-second tiebreaker with no bonus period. And then if it's still tied, successive 3 swing-offs until there is a winner.
Well, you know what's a tiebreaker in the first round? Distance, longest home run.
Yes, ties in the round are broken by the distance of each contestant's longest homer. So, okay. Well, that's fun. So you got Buxton, who plays for the Twins. It's just fun saying their names. Junior Caminero. Jazz Chisholm Jr.
That's a great name.
O'Neill Cruz. O'Neill's his first name, no apostrophe. I don't even know what he is. Cal Raleigh?
Yeah.
Raleigh?
Catcher. Yeah. I think he's the favorite.
Brent Rooker. James Wood. Not James Woods.
Not Jimmy Woods.
All fun to say, except then Matt Olson.
Well, you know what? I like to do things that are happening tonight as much as I can.
Well, you got it most of the time.
So this will actually, hey, if you want to have something live sports to watch tonight and you want to place a few shekels on it,
well, and the great thing is about this is a guy could be 17 homers behind with 1 out left and still win. Like he could rattle off 17 straight homers to tie it or something. So that's fun. It's at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia.
Couldn't just go with True Park. Nope.
No,
had to take
this is even truer. It's Truist.
Truist Park.
All right.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh is the nickname's the Big Dumper.
Oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
The Big Dumper. Is that because of the size of his posterior?
I believe it is.
I believe. Yeah, he doesn't take.
It could be both.
It could. That's right. It could be both. All right. That is Jay's play of the day for Play Alberta.
It's Jay, it's play, he's Jay, it's today. It's Jay's play of the day. It's Jay's play of the day. Jay's play of the day.
All right, good stuff. What?
Well, I was just going to say, Byron Buxton just hit for the cycle this past weekend, too. So his bat
it's not going to help him tonight.
Well, hey, the bat's active, baby. RSO Cody, the off-topic topic today for William Huff was any All-Star game. Which event would you like to see added?
Right.
He said MLB hit for the cycle challenge. Got a hit and run bases for the cycle. Fastest time wins.
Or maybe you have to land the ball in certain areas. That's the single. That's the double. That's
like
the
through
triple.
different gaps.
Yeah,
that would
land in a big circle or something. Like a
Top
triple,
Golf.
you got to hit down to the corner. Yeah, sort of like that.
That would be interesting. There's so many different events you could add to.
All of them involving dogs.
More dogs, the better. Absolutely.
Or you could have a swim meet at a. You could have something at a swim meet, like you get a race against an animal.
I wonder which animal.
Michael Phelps against a dolphin. Finally, we'll know. Here comes. What was the dolphin's name? Flipper? Was that the famous dolphin?
Yeah, from the Dolphins.
What was Free Willy?
That was a whale. That was an orca.
Oh, right. Do you remember The Simpsons?
No.
So he jumps. Free Willy, Homer's watching it. And Free Willy jumps and he eats the kid. And Homer's like, I hate this new director's cut. Jay and I are coming to you from the Banquet Studio. avocado and feta dip, passion fruit cheesecake, and cocktails that taste like summer in a glass. Try the new feature menu at The Banquet. Refreshing, craveable, and made for sunny days. The Banquet. Get real, play hard. We brought you the Oilers news of the day. They have their coaching staff. We'll probably drop in some more comments from Kris Knoblauch as we move through the afternoon. The Elks are on a bye week. So I had a buddy write me last night saying, can I pick the Elks to lose this week? They looked like they would lose to a bye week last night. So we got a couple minutes here. Just to clarify, yes or no? Or give me the name. Who starts at quarterback next game if you were calling the shot?
Trey Ford.
I'd probably start Fajardo.
I would too, but I don't think that's who's going to start.
No, I was asking you what you would do.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant if you were the Elks and
No, if you were you, coaching
if I was
the team.
me, Cody Fajardo would be in, or Trey Ford would get a start, but be on the tightest leash in the world. See if he can get himself out of this. See if he can battle himself back into a functioning CFL quarterback, because he did not look like that last night.
Here's the thing, though. Last night, did they win with better quarterback play?
That's a good question. I don't think they do. I think that was just such an overwhelming effort by the BC Lions that I don't know what could have happened. I think I said to Matt last night, I don't care if it was Tom Brady as quarterback. The defense couldn't get off the field. Reid, I looked into it. How many plays per drive do you think BC averaged out at?
8.
Almost 7, which is incredible.
Right.
That's 3 first downs. That's their average.
Right.
You know what Edmonton's was?
2.
3.5.
What were the first
That
downs?
includes a punt.
Right.
Third down is a
okay,
punt.
that includes the kicking. What were the total first downs? Do you have them there?
Yeah, I got it here.
I closed my stat window, but it would be bad.
It was not good. Let's see. Total first downs.
I mean, the score actually flattered the Elks, did it not?
Well, you're not going to believe this. Total first downs, BC 28, Edmonton 10.
And I struggle to remember Edmonton getting 10 first downs. They probably got 3 or 4 on their final drive.
On their first drive, too.
Oh, right.
They were moving the ball.
They did nothing.
Right. Time of possession, 43 minutes to 17 minutes.
That's shocking.
That can't happen.
No, well,
That simply can't happen. Look, this team has... Okay, and we do have to say, I mean, Jake Ceresna goes out. Metier wasn't there for most of the game. Those are 2 of the pillars of your defense that are not there. So that doesn't help them. Now, Mark Killam did say after the fact that, hey, we understand, but football's injuries are a part of football. Next man up, step up, know your role, and do your job, and take advantage of the situation. Well, that didn't happen. This team has been getting better week over week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, in the 5 weeks they've played, they've been actually increasing and improving.
yeah.
To last week where Trey Ford had a perfect efficiency rating. The defense, they bent, but they didn't break.
Right.
And then last night they just fell off a cliff. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine as to what team shows up after the bye week. Now, it is Saskatchewan.
They're good.
Which is a team, though, that Trey Ford has had success against.
True.
One of the half of the CFL teams that he's faced. He's not good against the best. Everybody, you know that.
Yes.
Now, that's alarming. That's worrisome. But he's also never had the ball. He's never been the starter since day 1 of fall camp.
Yep. So
will I say Trey Ford's a washed up? He's done. No, give up on him? No. But that was about as bad as a combination as you can have in terms of play calling, play efficiency. They didn't run the ball.
But the runs didn't work either. Nothing worked.
Reid, you got to run the ball till it works. I'm serious. Like you got to be determined in that facet. You know how many times BC rushed the ball?
Over 30. Well, that was just Butler.
That was just Butler. It was 30 times. I mean, they ran that into existence. That was something else. So coaches got dominated. The coaching staff of the Elks got dominated last night, and they know it. They know it. So they've got to work their butts off this bye week to see if they can turn this ship around. Because if you lay another stinker like that, this team could implode.
Yeah. Well, all right. Got a limerick here from William Mikespear, who I saw at the Def Leppard concert on Friday night. Nice. Elks played BC and got socked. No one could make any blocks. Though last night was hell, weekend started well with Reid singing Let's Get Rocked.
Nice.
There we go.
And you're going to give a full
Third
review,
song.
right?
Well, I don't have anything formal prepared. I think I'll just talk about the concert.
I think people just want to hear you talk about it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they do, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I want to know the set list. I want to know how you thought it was.
I'll tell you the set list. I think I could do the set list off by heart.
I bet you could.
Or be pretty close to it anyway.
You're dedicated.
780-218-9999 is how you text us, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. Ref Week starts with umpire Corrie Davis when we get back.
The Oilers made some changes to their coaching staff, letting go Dustin Schwartz while shifting Paul Coffey to an advisory role. And 3 coaches were brought in. Paul McFarland adds an assistant, Conor Allen as a skills coach, while Peter Aubry joins the squad to focus on goaltending. And from New York, the Islanders have inked Victor Eklund to his entry-level contract, Eklund being selected 16th overall in this year's draft. And according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Garrett Wilson and the Jets have agreed to a 4-year, $130 million deal, making him one of the highest paid receivers in the league. On the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from a blood clot issue that limited him to 46 games last season. While in baseball, Jim Clancy has passed away after finishing second in franchise starts, innings pitched, and complete games for the Jays. Clancy was 69 years old. We'll be back with the Reid Wilkins Show after a brief intermission.
Has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Summer in Edmonton means 3 things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Kayaks, bikes, camping gear? Make space for summer fun with Sentinel Storage. Spend more time on adventures with your outdoor gear and less time looking for them. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
All right, hope you're having a great afternoon. Jason Milne, Reid Wilkins on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Remember, if you're taking us in using the YouTube website, what do you call it? The stream? The app?
Stream.
Find that thumbs up button.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
We want to get to 100 at least every show. Almost halfway there, so keep clicking away. We're just a third of the way into the program. All right, Oilers with the new coaching staff today. If you missed it, Paul McFarland, assistant coach. Peter Aubry, goaltending coach. Conor Allen, skills coach. Dustin Schwartz will not be back as the goalie coach. Paul Coffey returns to his role as a special advisor to ownership and hockey ops, and extensions for assistant coach Mark Stewart and video coach Noah Segal. So those are the notes there. Elks on a bye. The bye started apparently before last night's game against BC because they didn't show up for that one. All right, we're really excited to do this week. It's going to be at 4 o'clock all week long, ref week. And we're going to talk to people who are referees, or in this case, an umpire, and we want their story and their thoughts on some of the things we often talk about when it comes to calling games. Longtime local umpire Corrie Davis is checking in. Corrie, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
Doing great, guys. How are you?
Well, we're doing very well. Jay was joking that he should just start booing you the minute that you come on, and all the refs and umps we're going to have on this week, because, of course, in your profession, that comes with the territory, which we will get to, because I think dealing with that is part of the job. But I'm hoping, and you and I talked briefly a few days ago, but I'm hoping you can tell your story about becoming an umpire, because you got into it relatively young, I understand.
Yeah, I actually started when I was 11 years old. I was a player, and went to register in Sherwood Park to play one year, and saw just a little poster on the door that said they were having an umpire clinic on the weekend. And I initially thought, oh, this is probably a good way to maybe make a few bucks. And that's actually how a lot of our young umpires start. Is this is kind of a summer gig for them. I'll be honest, I was not a very skilled baseball player, and it didn't take too long before the age level that I was at was not compatible with the talent level that I had. And I I loved baseball, wanted to stay involved in the game, and started umpiring a little bit more, making a little bit more money. It was a great gig for a young kid. I got paid $5 a game in cash after the game, and I would stop on my way home and buy a big Slurpee. And I joke now that I started umpiring to support my Slurpee habit.
Okay, that's a great. And you were 11, you said?
Yeah,
you were 11. Now, I often ask this of athletes, but I think I got to ask it of you here in the situation of being an umpire. At what point did you think? You made the Slurpee joke, which is a great comment, but at what point did you think, hold on, wait a minute, this is something I can really, really push to, I might be good at this. This is something I can push to do at a higher level?
Yeah, I think it was probably when I was around maybe 16-ish. I had a couple local umpires in Sherwood Park who really kind of took me under their wing and mentored me a lot. And when I was 16, I got to work my first provincial championship in Alberta. And I got a taste for what that kind of high-level competitive baseball was like. And really enjoyed being out there and kind of ticked that box. And then I thought, okay, well, how do I get into the national program and maybe work at a national championship event? Some of it was good luck too, happening, just to live in Edmonton where we had the Trappers at the time. A good friend of mine was the clubby for the umpires down at it was Renfrew Park at that time. So he would get some of us younger umpires in to meet some of those professional guys, and they were always very gracious with us and shared some time and expertise. And as I got a little bit older, a little bit more skilled, got into the national program. If one of the umpires for the Trappers was sick or hurt, or maybe it got called up to the big leagues, Edmonton was a tough place to get umpires from the U.S. to. Sometimes not a lot of flights in and out of the city. So often I would fill in for the Trappers and work with those pro guys. And then the year that there was all the labor strife with the MLB umpires, it was 1999, I think. A bunch of those guys got called up kind of mid-season, and they were very shorthanded with the AAA guys for the back half of the season. So I worked just about every game in Edmonton in the back half of that season when a lot of those guys got called up. So chance to work with some great umpires, and obviously when you're working with those guys, your skills improve just by being around them and picking their brain. So yeah, some of it was luck, and some of it was, I think I want to, keep shooting higher. And yeah, so provincials to nationals to some international events, lots of pro ball in Edmonton as well.
Okay, so you've done it all. How do you? So do you always? Because I think in the majors they wrote like if you're the home plate ump one game, are you third?
Sorry, I lost your audio there, guys. I can't hear you, Reid. But
Are we back? Everybody in the nasty chat, are we back? Corey's back. I was sorry about that. That's it's a good thing we're changing offices. We're not taking the little gremlins that chew cords with us to the new office in a couple of weeks. So if you work home plate for one game, then you're not back behind the plate for 3 or 4 games. Is that how they do it, or where you're doing stuff? Would the most experienced guy always call balls and strikes?
Yeah. In professional baseball, you rotate. Amateur baseball, maybe a little bit different, maybe not quite as formalized, and we're not working with 4 umpires. Lots of times it's with 2 or 3, but in pro ball, you rotate. So you work the plate one day, and then you go to third base the next day, and then second, and then first. So yeah, every 4th day you're working the plate.
All right. So I'm gonna come at you here with a couple of pointed questions. Okay.
Sure.
Corrie Davis joining us for Ref Week. He's a longtime umpire, as he's been telling you. What is the strike zone? How would you sum up what is the strike zone to somebody when they ask you?
Yeah. So it's rule book defined. So the rule book has a very specific definition of what that zone is, which is the area over home plate, and home plate is it's a 3-dimensional space, that area over home plate, and then it's from the hollow of your knee to the midpoint between the belt and the shoulders.
From the hollow of your knee.
Yeah. So just below your kneecap.
Okay.
Is the bottom to the midpoint between the belt and your shoulders. So whatever that midpoint is, obviously it's different by athlete. So if you look at a guy like Altuve, for example, he's 5'8". The upper half of that body is a lot smaller than the upper half of Aaron Judge's body, for example.
Right. Yeah. So here's the stuff that people will like. When a catcher or a batter don't like your strike zone, what's a way in which they can express that to you that you would be comfortable with?
Yeah, I think it's I think maybe a myth that there's lots of disagreement. I think umpires and catchers typically have pretty good relationships. So we talk a lot. I know for me, worked behind some great catchers over the years. If it was somebody that I knew pretty well and somebody that I thought was fair, there might be times where I would even ask them on a close pitch, and I would say to them, hey, I have that right at the bottom. Where did you have it? And they might say, you know what, Corey, I've got that there. I think that's a strike. And it just, it's a little trigger for me to kind of, make sure I see that ball right into the mitt, things like that. So there's a lot of, I think, subtle discussion, and the relationship most times is pretty good. The odd time you get a guy who maybe isn't too interested in having a conversation, and, they start to do things that are maybe, a little bit less subtle, like hold pitches for a long time. They might turn around, things like that. So really more blatant and overt disagreement. But for the most part, I try to have a good relationship with catchers, and they ask me questions, I ask them questions. and we try to be fair with each other.
Okay, well, that's interesting about the dialogue, because we often only see the stuff that blows up or is out of control, right? But in general, because I was saying this before you came on, like baseball is sort of infamous for the manager charging out of the dugout and kicking dirt, and then the ump yells back, which is an interesting dynamic that baseball maybe appears to have more than other sports, though it may not be true. Like, what is your line for when, okay, I'm going to allow this player or coach to vent, but then I got to let them know I heard them and it's done. Like, or maybe you don't allow them to vent much at all. How do you deal with those confrontational situations?
I think, if they're under control, if they're not profane, if they want to know just what you saw, the best way to get them to go away is if they have a question is to answer the question. And it's when you don't answer the question, that's when they really start to get frustrated a lot of times. There's some magic words for sure, where if you hear those words, it's automatic, and they know what those magic words are. It's not a mystery. You can probably imagine what some of those magic words are. For things that are, if they're directing something at you that's really personal, there's a big difference between saying, you made a really bad call versus you're a really bad umpire.
Right.
One of those things is about a specific act, and the other thing is about you as a person. And the things about you as a person, those we typically don't let guys say too much of that stuff.
Have you ever, this might be like a silly question, have you ever got the sense that a manager was trying to get himself kicked out to fire up his team and you wouldn't oblige him because he was trying to do it?
Yeah. There's been times where they've come out to me and said, Corey, you got to get me out of here. I can remember there's a senior league game here in Edmonton where a guy came out to me and said, his team was making lots of mistakes, lots of errors. His pitcher couldn't throw strikes. And he said, I can't stand to watch these guys anymore. Get me out of here. So we put on a nice little show and made it look legit. And I talked to him a couple days later, and he thanked me. There's times where they do it to maybe they're not mad at you, but they want to fire up the boys or girls, and I don't know if it works or not, but they've definitely come and asked for sure.
That show you just alluded to between the manager and the umpire, that is probably one of the most exciting things to happen in sports, is the managers out of the dugout going toe to toe.
Yeah.
Now you said a show, and I feel that's an accurate way to describe it. But when you're in the moment of an actual, not like we just discussed here where that fella just wanted to get out of the game, but an actual angry person coming towards you, what is your first instinct before it escalates to, kicking sand on your foot and rubbing dirt on the home plate? How do you manage that in the moment?
Well, I can tell you when I was younger, it was terrifying. It was really, really scary. And frankly, it's why a lot of young umpires don't stick with it is they get so much anxiety about that part of it. So I had a lot of anxiety about it when I was younger. As I got older and it happened maybe a little bit more frequently, you learn it's not really personal. It's they're frustrated in the moment. Maybe by something that you did or didn't do, maybe by some other things too, or probably by a combination of a bunch of things. So one of the things that I learned early on was just to listen. And it's frankly, it's helped me in lots of other areas of my life, but you don't need to have the last word. So that guy will come out there and he'll be angry and upset and he might be screaming, but you can only do that for so long. And then you start to run out of gas. So what I found was I'd wait for them to start to run out of gas, and then we could talk versus yell. So you'd tell them what you saw, and they would tell you you're full of crap, and they would be on their way. And I think where maybe some guys struggle is they maybe try to talk over the manager. They maybe try to get the last word in. And I learned pretty early on that part's probably not too important. I laugh. I tell my wife that umpiring prepared me for marriage because it's the same thing there. I don't need to have the last word. I don't need to be right all the time. So it's probably made me a better husband and a better dad too.
That's awesome. Corrie Davis joining us here as we launch Ref Week here on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Thanks for being so generous with the time. We got to get to a couple more. And I know because when we talked, it was important to you to talk about developing younger umps, which we will get to. I'm going to let you do that for sure. But I got to ask you, and people are putting it in our chat, how do you feel about the robot umps, the AI strike zones or whatever, or either taking over or assisting human umpires potentially? How do you feel about all that?
I think in the pro game, and I know a lot of the guys that work in the big leagues, they're friends of mine, they're in favor of it. And I think one of the common misconceptions about professional umpires for sure is that they don't care if they're right or not. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, those guys want to be right. They want to get the call right. And if technology can help them do that, they're in favor of it. And that's why replay came along, and the umpires union agreed to replay when it first came out. I think it's coming with balls and strikes. They want to get pitches right. And if technology will help them do that, I think they'll embrace it.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly had no idea how you were going to answer that. And that's really interesting. Okay. And then let's circle back, because we started with a young Corrie Davis. Now let's talk with a more seasoned Corrie Davis, hoping the next versions of you are coming along. What do we always hear though? If you're a young ump, young ref, whatever, no one's on your side. Maybe your parents are there, but the other parents are taught to hate you. The teams are taught to hate you. You only get attention when you're wrong. You might get abused unfairly. I'm taking it to this extreme, but sometimes that's how it's talked about. How do you encourage youngsters who you think might be good in umping to get into it? And then how do you encourage them to stick with it when they might have a tough day, where maybe they don't like their own performance, or they had a great game, but they're still being told by both coaches and teams that they're terrible? How do you keep the young guys going?
I think our message to the young umpires is that, like, when you go out there, you need to work hard right from the very start, right to the very end. Some games are short, some games are long. Sometimes it's hot out, sometimes it's cold out. Sometimes the game is close and sometimes it's not. But regardless of all of those external circumstances, the one thing you can control is your work ethic. And we want to make sure that you go out there with good, solid work ethic the whole way through. I think in terms of the broader baseball community, and we've had, I think, some recent success with this with some of the local associations around Edmonton for sure, but helping the broader baseball population understand that, there's not a lot of difference between our young umpire and your young player, right? So they're young kids, they're learning the game, they're going to make mistakes. There's going to be things that happen out there that they don't know what to do. Kid and young baseball players, they make errors. They throw the ball to the wrong base. They strike out. The pitchers, walk 6 guys in a row. All that stuff happens. And there's a lot of tolerance for those young athletes. And we want them to have that same type of tolerance for our young umpires. Because if you don't like the young umpire that you have today, the best way to make sure that you don't have to worry about that kid anymore is to be a jerk to that young umpire, because he'll quit. And you're going to have another young umpire next year who will be just as inexperienced, maybe just as unskilled. The way that they get better is we keep them for longer. So if you can create an environment that allows us to keep that umpire coming back year after year after year, that's how we're going to be able to build greater competency. And just treat our kid like you would treat your kid.
Corrie Davis, umpire, joining us here on the Reid Wilkins Show. Corrie, you got to be incredibly sharp to do this job, and you got to be on your A game every night. Especially when you're at the higher levels. What do you do in preparation? What do you do in the off season or during the season to keep yourself sharp and keep yourself, I guess, ready to be the best you can?
That's a good question. It's maybe evolved a little bit too over the years, and experience, certainly helps you to maybe get ready for a game sooner than what I would have been able to when I was younger. When I was younger, I just did a lot of visualization work, especially when I kind of, in that 17 to 21 range where I was really getting into the national program. I really liked umpiring. I thought about umpiring a lot, and I would just do a lot of visualization work. I would visualize myself seeing a play or seeing a pitch come in a critical moment, and what I would do in that moment. And I would kind of practice that in my mind. And then when it happened on the field, it wasn't really the first time I was seeing it, because I practiced it a whole bunch of times in my mind already. Getting older and then, finding a real career and, having to work from, you go in and you put a full day of work in, and then you gotta go to the Riverhawks game and be on your A game. I've had to learn how to, condense that preparation time. Routine is a really big thing for me. So I always want to be at the ballpark by a certain time, and I have a specific routine that I would go through to get my game face on for one of those games, so that I'm ready when the game starts.
Corrie, this was incredible. This is a great way for us to launch Ref Week here on the Reid Wilkins Show. Thanks for telling your story and giving some perspective, because that's what we want. We rarely talk about it from the umpire, the referee's perspective. So that's what we're trying to do this week. I'll end here. If any youngster, anybody, any age, I guess, there says, hey, you know what? That sounds pretty cool. How can they get into umpiring or find out more?
Reach out to Baseball Alberta or go onto their website, which is www.baseballalberta.com, and there's an umpires section on there. It'll tell you where the umpire clinics are, what's upcoming there, and we'll be able to get you started.
Awesome. Corrie, thanks. I said it'd be about 20 minutes. We kept you about 25. So thanks so much for doing this. That was incredible. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you at the ballpark.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Corrie Davis, longtime umpire in Edmonton and area, and as he told you, many provincial and national tournaments along the way, gets us going here with Ref Week on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Phenomenal.
That was great.
So much insight there that was just passed along, and how to deal with certain situations, what it's like being a young umpire. Corrie Davis has done it all. He was at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
So he's called some big games. So good on him. Thanks for coming on. That was great.
We want to react to some of the stuff he said. We'll do that in buying or selling, because he said a couple of things that actually quite surprised me.
Yeah, I know. I bet you I know one of them.
Too. Yeah, we'll save that for the next segment. Buying or selling for Damon Bunting coming up. We're going to talk more about the Edmonton Elks, more on the orders as we move along. We'll talk a bit about that somewhat strange to have a game moved to the next day in the Canadian Football League in Regina. The smoke game. The smoke gate is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I love that.
I know you love a good gate.
Just throw gate on the end of everything. Here comes the Coop.
Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and Conor Allen have been added to the Oilers coaching staff. Dustin Schwartz being let go as the team's goalie coach, while Paul Coffey moves to become the special advisor for hockey operations and ownership. McFarland heads behind the bench as an assistant, Aubry taking over as a goalie coach, while Allen comes in as a skills coach. Elsewhere, 18-year-old Victor Eklund has signed his entry-level deal with the Islanders. He was picked 16th overall at this most recent draft, while in the association, 21-year-old Spurs superstar Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to play after being limited to just 46 games last year due to blood clots. In football, the Jets extend Garrett Wilson to a 4-year deal worth $130 million, with the 24-year-old having $90 million guaranteed. In other news, longtime Blue Jay Jim Clancy has passed away at the age of 69. Clancy spent 12 of his 15 major league seasons in Toronto, finishing his career second in franchise starts, innings pitched, and complete games for the Jays. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods, help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Visit findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. The Reid Wilkins Show returns after a brief break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Win a trip to Osheaga with the Banquet in Aperol. We're sending one lucky guest to Montreal with flights, hotel, and 2 tickets to one of Canada's hottest music festivals. Enter by July 26. Details in store or on the Banquet app. Get real. Play hard.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Do you have pets? Horses? Chickens? Did the place you used to get your feed recently close down? Have no fear. Clover Bar Feeds is here. Whether it's dogs, cats, horses, or chickens, Clover Bar Feeds has you covered. Offering a large variety of food and feed, you can trust the experts at Clover Bar Feeds. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. This means you can expect nothing less than top-notch service and selection. Come visit them at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or visit them online at cloverbarfeeds.com.
Everyone knows when you need a truck now, you call Dawn.
That's right. You call us, Frontier Cartage, when you need driver coverage or have a truck that's down.
You call Dawn from Frontier Cartage.
When you've got way more freight to move than you thought.
You call Dawn from Frontier Cartage.
When you need a truck that's available and ready to start anytime you need.
You call Dawn at Frontier Cartage, 587-222-5826. 587-222-5826.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
If you aren't wearing a Connect belt, what are you waiting for? A one-size-fits-all belt with a smooth, hole-free track system makes it adjustable for the perfect fit. With fully customizable options, you can choose your belt color, material, and buckle to suit your style. 100% Canadian-owned and operated, Connect belts are designed for work, everyday wear, and even a round of golf. Check out the large selection of men's and women's styles at www.knktbelts.com. Connect belts, the perfect fit every time.
River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
The Canadian Brewhouse is turning up the flavor this summer with our new summer feature menu. Try our jerk chicken skewers, Cajun shrimp tostadas, and street corn salsa. Bold bites made for patio season. Get them while it's hot. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Must you click? click. Thumb. Must you click. Thumb.
All right, there's the Thumb Click remix is put together by Zachary Kubish. Are you clicking my forehead?
Trying to high thumb you.
Oh, you're trying to high thumb me.
Wow.
I thought you were clicking, like trying to click me, the person.
Hey, smoosh your head.
Kids in the Hall. That was a great show.
That was a great bit.
Its heyday for sure. So the Oilers with a new coaching staff. Paul McFarland, new assistant coach. He's going to run the power play. Here's head coach Kris Knoblauch.
Another one was just the fact that he's been running an NHL power play for many years, started in Florida, Toronto, and then Seattle. And, obviously power play success is determined a lot with the personnel that you have. And so, I think he's done a heck of a job on getting the most out of the personnel that he's had. But also very strong is the success that he had with those good power plays in Toronto and Florida. And I feel that he'll be able to bring that over and be able to have a good, strong working relationship with the players that we have on our team right now.
All right, so Paul McFarland, assistant coach, going to run the power play. Peter Aubry, the goaltending coach, Conor Allen, takes over as the skills coach. Stewart and Segal as assistant and video coach, respectively, get renewed. Dustin Schwartz will not be back as the goaltending coach. You can text us at 780-218-9999 to reach the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant. All you can eat surf and turf for just $15. I don't know why I actually elevated out of my chair there. Jay was like, where's he going? All you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday. That is from 4 until 10 p.m. We are off and running with Ref Week. So guest number one, Corrie Davis, started umping where at Sherwood Park. When he was 11. He wanted Slurpee money. He wanted Slurpee money.
How much better does that get?
And he's been
not
doing
better
it,
than that.
Been doing it for a long time. So you mentioned, Trappers, Riverhawks. You were saying World Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic.
What a
2009.
resume. Yeah.
And he's on the Millennium Place Sports Wall of Recognition. In
As he should be.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is a part. And like a lot of these refs in the NHL. They're from somewhere, Smalls. That could be someone to look up to in your community too, as Corey should be. So let's talk a little bit more about what some of the things he told us. Buying or selling for Damon Bunting, a consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years now?
Got to.
For over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, so Corey was really good, and he said a couple things at least that I didn't expect, and the dialogue with catchers and actually asking a catcher, do you have that as a strike? Am I seeing the strike zone now with experienced catchers and actually trusting that they're going to give him an honest response and not just be like, oh yeah, everything my guy throws. Wow, that one that bounced, that was, but no, I'm exaggerating, but. That on the close ones, they're going to say, no, like he's hitting the spot today, Corey. Like we should be giving him that one.
Well, if you were an established catcher and you had the wherewithal to say, no, you're right, you got it, you would be sitting at a higher ranking for when you said, yeah, I think that one was good, Corey. That's going to resonate a lot more than the catcher that's, well, no, that one was good. That one was good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, look at this one. It's a strike.
But I do like how he said that, some of the catchers that will frame the ball a little while longer is probably not the best way to get what you want out of an umpire.
Right.
Because that's what you've said for, we've talked about hockey referees and officials and how you show them up on the ice. It's a no-no.
Right.
And showing them up, obviously, on the diamond is also a no-no.
Yeah, like the pulling it in and holding it there for 5 seconds. Like, hey, look at this one. It's like, okay.
But I want to know what you thought was that surprising comment, because I think I share the same
Well,
feeling.
that was one of them.
But the electronics and the AI...
Oh, yeah, they're okay with it.
And
to
me,
to help, right? To help.
That was refreshing to hear that, because you often wonder, because now baseball can put out stats on umpires. They can grade you out within seconds of the game being over.
Right.
And there's some referees that have continually had not so good grades. But to hear, it really humanizes that position, doesn't it? It says, well, no, of course, who would want to miss calls? Who would want to not be known as one of the best?
Right.
And that they do take that personally, and they do feel remorse if they miss one. But having that extra layer of support in the terms of AI and the strike zone is welcome to umpires, because I don't think it's ever going to be a case where you're going to have Blinky the robot behind home plate saying ball, strike.
Yeah, I don't think that would.
I think that takes out a major aspect of the game.
Right.
I mean, what's the manager going to do? Just kick the robot over?
You lose the arguments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure which way he would go on that. But I remember interviewing a former linesman, it might have been Mike Civic, I can't remember, about the offside review when it came into the NHL. And he said, well, we want to get the call right. So if technology is another way for us to do that at times, then why shouldn't we embrace that? I mean, we want to be correct. So it's not like, oh, I can only be correct with my eyes. You know, it'd be like, you know, if you ripped open, you used to open a can with your bare teeth, and then someone buys you a can opener. You know, well, that's not how I open cans. You know, so it's okay to use the technology. I agree. I think there should be limits to it. I don't want it to go too far.
Well,
but it's interesting how he answered that, though.
And the NHL should take a look at that and use technology to their advantage a lot more, so that you don't have to go through a 5 to 10 minute delay to call a simple offside. Whereas if, you know, MLB, it's fast. It's instant.
Yes.
No, that was a strike. Okay, let's move on with the game. Which I think is the best way of using artificial intelligence to help make the game better.
I also enjoyed the story he told about the manager who wanted to get kicked out of the game.
That's awesome.
And he obliged him, and they put on a little bit of a show. And that is, I'm not saying coaches in other sports don't go over the top, but baseball, I think, is known for more like, oh, here we go. Like
the theatrics.
And they're nose to nose, and you can see them spitting on each other. Like I remember reading a thing once that some manager would often use a lot of words that started with the letter P. So like he would spit even more on the, you know, like you're a pimple popper of an umpire, you know.
Pipsqueak.
Yeah, you're a pipsqueak of an umpire. So yeah, Corey said, yeah, okay. So they kind of put on a little bit of a dust up, and he threw the guy out. But that aside, it is relatively rare that it happens. And as he said, like I'll listen to him. Like I'll listen to a manager. Sometimes you let him do that and it blows over, and then we can talk. And what else did he say? If they ask me a question, it's actually part of the official's job to answer it and not take everything as like, oh, how dare you question me? You know, and I think that's...
I think there are some umpires that would feel that way and say, how dare you question me?
Yeah, well, fair enough.
But obviously, Corey's been around long enough and
probably
learned.
At the higher end, it helps not to be that way, and also respect what the coach and player have ascended to perhaps in their careers.
Well, it helps. He said it helped him in his getting prepared to be married. You know,
that was pretty good.
Communication. It helps in all walks of life.
Right.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
But I think that's a good point. And we, if you, and part of the reason we want to do this is sort of humanize the officials a little bit. And he's not saying that a coach or a player should never approach him. Just saying, just approach me with the question. You can even be a little upset, but if you approach me a question, okay, you want to have your say, well, fine. Let me respond to that too. And we really got to emphasize this because we get it all the time. Oh, they don't care. Oh, they're out to screw one over today. The officials do not want to be wrong. They might be wrong sometimes. And I'll say, if I think something is blatantly wrong, I will say I think that was blatantly a missed call. But they do not want to be wrong. Why is it one reason? Two reasons they don't want to be wrong. Professional pride. Like it or not, they do have it, especially the higher up they go. And let's face it, Jay, the better you are, even in umpiring or refereeing or whatever, the bigger tournaments and events you get to work and games, you get more money too.
Yeah.
Like that's not a bad motivator.
No, it's not.
It's not just Slurpee money. I mean, heck, if you go to an international tournament and they want you to work 8 games instead of 4, including the final, you're probably going to be better compensated for that. So they don't want to be wrong. And I think, Corey did a very good job communicating that. Buying or selling, you're now more sympathetic towards officials. By the end of the week, you're going to like be the ref's biggest cheerleader.
Oh yeah, no selling. I've got, I have the most experience. My most experiences with football officials, which we're going to have on as well.
Right.
And that is something that I've never dealt with on the professional level, where they have video review and they have all these, different ways of getting it right. Unfortunately, I've dealt with some areas where referees at that level of game should probably be more experienced, better. But that's what I want to find out the most throughout all of this, Reid, is I want to find out from baseball to basketball to football to whatever other refs are on, is that what are the challenges faced in getting the next generation of referees? They're important. They're very important. Without referees, you don't play the games.
Right.
And when you're trying to rush players or referees up the chain of command, so to speak, and you're rushing them into situations they're probably not ready for, it's bad for everybody.
Right. That's a good point.
But at the same time, I mean, what did Corrie say? Just take it easy. Take it easy on the young guy that's out there behind home plate. Because guess what? Your son or daughter's U12 baseball game doesn't mean anything at all in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
But to little Johnny, who's back there trying to have Slurpee money or better himself as an umpire, your comments mean a lot. And your comments can be the difference between him going on and turning it into a 41-year career, as Corrie Davis has, or just saying, well, the hell with this. I don't need to hear from somebody's parent every night calling me names. I mean, I got to go home and study for my science test.
Right.
So
and
be
he's
mindful
probably
of
umped
that.
as many games as your kid has played, which wouldn't be that many.
Probably. Yeah, and you know what, Reid? I've said it before. I've had my goes at referees. With my kids now in sports, I like to look at it a lot differently, because there are the parents that are always yapping and talking, and it's a little much. But I've been guilty of it. I would be the last person to say I haven't. I've learned
have
from
you
it.
directed it at minors, like under 18?
No.
There's still. I mean, not that I'm saying, well, if a guy or girl's an adult, you can chirp them more.
No. And here's the thing, Reid. Chirping a ref does nothing for you. But actually,
Makes
it might
you feel
actually
better in the moment. But that's
it's not really doing anything. It's actually a detriment to the game. It's a detriment to who if the ref really wants to be a then well, guess what? The team you're cheering for is not on his good books anymore.
Right.
So it's probably best just to learn how to. I learned that I should scorekeep, because then you're not saying anything, right? You can't.
Oh, you can't. Yeah.
But it's a great position for me because it forces me to shut up. And it's been great. I love scorekeeping now.
Yeah.
So find ways to do that. Find ways to if that's something you're hot about, to remove yourself from the situation, because it has an effect on young people for sure.
Yeah. 780-218-9999 is our afternoon inbox, presented by River Cree Resort and Casino. Good start there to Ref Week with Corrie Davis, an umpire from Edmonton, from Sherwood Park, for over 41 years. And you may have seen him at a Riverhawks game this season.
You probably have.
And not even known. Which is good if you're not looking up but now maybe people go like, oh, that's the guy they had on the show.
Yeah, tell him what do you say? Like, what's a good umpire chirp?
Hey, Blue, what are you doing there? Trash talking with Reid Wilkins.
That was good.
Yeah. Hey, Blue, what's that call? They call the umps blue, eh?
I didn't know that, but I guess because in the major leagues they wear black.
Yeah, I think so. Black and gray.
I wonder if they're always just blue.
I remember I used to do PA announcing. Sometimes I would do. There was a team in Lloyd, the men's team, the Lloyd Meridian Twins, and they hosted provincials once. It was actually a pretty good tournament. I did a bunch of games. Like, there were good teams, and there was a close call at the plate. Like, it was one of those, the catcher got the ball and did a sweep tag, and the guy was sliding, and I'm right in a booth behind home plate. I couldn't tell, and the ump called them safe, and the catcher was quite mad. And I remember the ump. The catcher kind of like burst to his feet and got right in the ump's face. And he was like, come on, Blue. I got him. This is provincials. You got to be at our level. And it's like, and it was what, and I remember the ump kind of just gave him a look and turned and walked away and swept off the plate.
Oh boy.
So, but I thought, you know what? In that moment, the ump could have escalated that. right? Like he could have tossed the guy, which escalates it. He could have started yelling back at him. But it's like, okay, I gave you your outburst. I made my call.
Yeah.
I'm not going to debate it with you. I'm not going to be, oh no, well, he slipped. Like the guy knows the rule. And of course the catcher, of course he's biased as to what he thought he saw. But I thought, okay, that's one way to de-escalate it. There are a lot of different, but I do think that's a big part of being an official and ump is knowing when, okay, this is something I need to respond to, or this is something he blew off steam. And if that's the end of it, fine, that's the end of it. I mean, if the catcher starts stalking him and yelling at him, then maybe it's time to do something. But I always remember that moment.
Do you think, this comes in from McLean, in football, I think they need to hurry up refs that have played the game. Too many people that haven't played before are refereeing. Do you think it adds a layer or level of expertise to somebody if they've actually played the game? I do. I agree with that comment 100%.
And in what sport is it most common to go from playing to reffing? I mean, there's been some guys in hockey. Paul Stewart, probably the most notable.
I think hockey, it's because hockey, you need to know how to skate. You can't be a referee
I think
without skating.
Maybe more likely it's a lot of line. Like there's the what's the U of A linesman? Travis Toomey was a Golden Bear. Now he's a linesman.
Yeah,
because he could move around the ice.
I think a lot of former basketball players ref basketball too.
So if you were a defensive back in football, are you better inclined to call pass interference?
Probably, to be honest with you, because you would know, you could see it much faster. You could say, oh, that person was just running in stride with them.
Right.
Instead of hand fighting or jockeying. Maybe I should become a back judge.
You should be a back judge.
I'd love to be a back judge. I'd be the coolest back judge ever.
You would be.
Yeah, I'd be
so
cool.
personable.
Yeah.
Jay and I are coming to you from the Banquet Studio. The Banquet summer feature menu is here. Bacon wrapped pickles, spicy Korean noodle bowls, and cocktails like the Pink Lady and Blueberry Hibiscus Smash. Well, I messed that one up. Just go to the Banquet. Try out the Banquet. Get real, play hard. Here comes the Coop.
The Oilers shake things up by adding Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and Conor Allen to their coaching staff. Paul Coffey being shifted back to an advisor role. Aubry taking over as a goalie coach with Dustin Schwartz being let go, while Allen steps into a skills coach position. McFarland being behind the bench as an assistant. And out east, the Islanders have signed this year's 16th overall pick and Victor Eklund to his entry-level deal. While on the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from a blood clot issue, limiting him to just 46 games last season. And even with the shortened season, the 21-year-old led the league in blocks. And in NFL news, 24-year-old Garrett Wilson signed a 4-year extension with the Jets worth a total of $130 million, $90 million guaranteed. Elsewhere, longtime Jays pitcher Jim Clancy has passed away. Clancy spending 12 of 15 major league seasons with the Jays, being an all-star in 1982. Clancy was 69 years old. This sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park, or call them at 780-467-5014. The Reid Wilkins Show rolls on once we get back from break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus, shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Kayaks, bikes, camping gear? Make space for summer fun with Sentinel Storage. Spend more time on adventures with your outdoor gear and less time looking for them. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
Summer in Edmonton means three things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Who's up for a prehistoric party? Your Edmonton Elks face the BC Lions this Sunday at 5 p.m. Back due to popular demand, this theme promises to be dynamite.
Featuring Dino Nuggets at concession, the adorable baby dinosaur crawl, and the return of the T-Rex Combine.
It's bigger and better than ever. The EE Prehistoric Party, presented by Payworks. Tickets start at just $20. Score yours before they go extinct at goelks.com.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
Kayaks, bikes, camping gear? Make space for summer fun with Sentinel Storage. Spend more time on adventures with your outdoor gear and less time looking for them. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
All right, hope you're having a great afternoon. Along with Jason Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins, Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. And presented by Play Alberta. It's time to turn up the fun with the all-new Play Alberta app, your digital destination for casino, live dealers, lottery, instants, and, of course, sports betting. And, of course, Jay's Play of the Day. Click on the Sports tab, click on AESD Specials to get that. All right, time to get fired up for Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years. The authorized dealer for Napoleon fireplaces, whether it's gas or wood burning. Look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. Would you like me to be fired up about something, Mr. Milne?
Yeah, I wanted you to tell me, because I specifically didn't text you about this over the weekend. I'm just trying to get the ESTV going here. I had to re-sign in.
Yeah.
I specifically didn't ask you anything about Def Leppard. We talk all the time, you and I, best buds, chums, as you normally would with best friends. You chat all the time. You're talking all the time. So I specifically left this out. Reid, I want it all. How was it?
It was perfect.
It was perfect?
It was perfect.
So how much? This is your, 15th or 14th?
14th time seeing Def Leppard live.
And where would you rank it out of the other?
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Is that unfair?
A little bit. I would say when I saw them in Vegas, it was very, very good.
Well, that was quite an intimate setting, right?
I think it was about 5,000, but a specific music venue. They played Hysteria front to back, which is my favorite album. So I heard some songs live that I hadn't heard before. That was pretty cool. Seeing them at Commonwealth almost 3 years ago in September was awesome. I mean, there've been other shows where they've sounded really good. I would say this would be in the top half for sure. The sound quality was outstanding.
Was it? Okay.
I wasn't sure necessarily outside how it would be. The sound quality was outstanding. And they're just they just know exactly what to do. I mean, they're seasoned. They play the songs so everybody can sing along, and they know what they're playing. And, they're all in their 60s, but they're giving her. I mean, Vivian Campbell, the one guitar player, I think he had lymphoma and has had like bone marrow transplants and stuff like that. So, they're out there giving it their all. What a life. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in a rock and roll band.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that? Oh, I don't know, 40, 50 years. Oh, so you guys slowing down? Not really. Still touring. So I just love the band. I love their music. I've said I'm not a huge fan of Two Steps Behind, but they did Two Steps Behind, and I'm still singing along to it and loving that other people are loving it. It was just an awesome night, and I'm there with Zip, one of my best friends of all time, the 10th time we've seen the band together. And we just had an absolute blast. Like the weather was nice. It was a cool venue, and seeing them, a 50-minute drive from where you live. Like it was so cool. It was just so cool. It just made me really happy.
Good.
And, and Zip and I have been friends since 92 or 93. We met in university. And if you would have told me when Zip and I met and realized we shared a lot of musical tastes, that 33 years later, we'd still be going to see Def Leppard live, I would have said, that's unbelievable.
Oh, wow. That's a big word.
But it's happening. It was just a perfect night. And look, of course I'm biased. Of course I went into it wanting to enjoy it and quite frankly expecting to enjoy it. And I did. It was just one of those moments you just live in the moment. And I can't remember every little thing that made me smile during the course of the show, but I know there were a lot of things or just a lot of moments in the songs where I'm like, God, I love how that sounds. And they just played it live. And yes, there are some songs they've probably done on all 14 times I've seen them, Pour Some Sugar, Animal, ones like those. But I still just was totally immersed in it and totally loving it and taking some moments just to look around too and see other people enjoying it and just thinking this is such a cool life moment. And they end every concert with Joe Elliott saying, until next time, and there will be a next time, don't forget about us because we won't forget about you. Eventually he's going to say that and it will be the last time. And let's face it, this could be the last time for them. I know they want to keep doing it and they are touring, but eventually it's going to be the last time I see Def Leppard. And I might not know it at the time.
Right.
And maybe that was Friday. So I just soaked it in and absolutely loved every second of it. I truly rocked until I dropped. I'm a little emotional talking about it, to be honest with you.
I get that.
But as I often said, I love having favorite things, and they are one of the favorite things in my life.
Did you break out the phone at any point?
Yeah, I took a few photos and some videos. Yeah, I guess I could have sent Coob those. Well, it's on Instagram. Zip and I, some shots of the stage.
Yeah.
I think you saw Zip and I were quite happy.
Looks like you're having the time of your life.
We're having the time of our life.
Good. That makes me happy.
It was just an amazingly cool night. Thank you for asking. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
That was brilliant. Beautiful.
Somebody, Weezer was the next day. And hey, if you're a big Weezer fan, you got to see Weezer, awesome. If you're a big Took fan and you got to see Took, like, awesome. Whatever's your favorite, if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you went out there and enjoyed it.
I believe it's Taku.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like a Klingon word.
No bad. No.
Taku,
no
Captain. That is fired up for Jemco. This guy was smoked up. I just made him sound like he was... I just made him sound like he was doing some narcotics or something. That's not what I meant. This guy was smoked out on Friday. Britton Gray from CJME coming up.
The Oilers make some changes to their coaching staff, letting go Dustin Schwartz while shifting Paul Coffey to an advisory role under ownership and hockey operations. And 3 new coaches were brought in. Paul McFarland as an assistant, Conor Allen as a skills coach, while Peter Aubry joins this squad to focus on goaltending. And from New York, the Islanders have inked Victor Eklund to an entry-level contract, Eklund being selected 16th overall in this year's draft. While in the NFL, Garrett Wilson and the Jets have agreed to a 4-year, $130 million deal, making him one of the highest paid receivers in the league. On the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from a blood clot issue that limited him to just 46 games this past season. In baseball, Jim Clancy has passed away after finishing second in franchise starts, innings played, and complete games for the Jays. Clancy was 69 years old. The Reid Wilkins Show returns on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
With the banquet in win a trip to Osheaga with the banquet in Aperol. We're sending one lucky guest to Montreal with flights, hotel, and 2 tickets to one of Canada's hottest music festivals. Enter by July 26. Details in store or on the banquet app. Get real. Play hard.
You know Dawn. Everyone knows Dawn. Dawn from
Frontier Cartage. That's right, it's me, Dawn from Frontier Cartage, where we're setting the standard for cartage service in Edmonton and beyond, offering city cartage, Alberta highway, short haul deck, and more. My team and I are bringing our years of industry experience and expertise to every mile.
Join Dawn and her boys in a new chapter in transportation excellence, dedicated to exceptional service. Call Dawn at Frontier Cartage, 587-222-5826.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. Oh, hello, all you beautiful people. Hope you're having a great Monday afternoon. Along with Jason Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. The Edmonton Elks stuck with one win on the season. Bad one yesterday against the BC Lions. They have a bye week, and the Edmonton Oilers rounding out their coaching staff as well. We've had some of the key comments from head coach Kris Knoblauch as we've been playing clips throughout the afternoon. We launched Ref Week, which was pretty cool, with umpire Corrie Davis. Tomorrow, basketball ref Karen Lasuk, who lives just outside of Edmonton, refs Division I women's basketball. You've probably seen her reffing games at the U of A or other places over the years, or maybe you saw her on TV reffing at the Olympics in 2016. Incredible story. She's going to be on tomorrow. Now, the Elks' next game is in Saskatchewan in a couple of weeks against the 4-1 Riders. The Riders finally losing on Saturday against the Calgary Stampeders. To discuss that and an unusual air quality delay from CJME Radio, it is Britton Gray making his return to the show. Britton, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Well, we're doing very well. Thanks for taking the time to join us. I think Jamie and I said this might be your day off, but he was like, just ask him to go on your show. He'll probably do it. He was right.
He's entirely right.
So I want to get your perspective, and I don't know if you were on the sidelines or in the booth, but from wherever you were, of how everything sort of played out Friday night with the game at first delayed by only 45 minutes and then being delayed till the next afternoon.
Yeah, no, I was up in the booth there, and we were kind of left in the dark for a lot of it. When we got there, we could tell it was smoky. We knew that the game was going to be delayed. It was just a matter of how long. And then you start getting these messages from the Riders and the CFL, 45 minutes. Okay, an hour. And then came the point where they said to an undetermined time. And at that point in the media box, we were all kind of like, oh, no one really knows when this smoke is going to clear out. And it never did. You could see it from the lighting. You could see it. You could barely see buildings that weren't that far away. You knew it wasn't getting better. And it was just the most frustrating part really came to the fact that there wasn't a lot of in-stadium updates. Even for us, we were kind of left waiting, wondering what's going to happen. We're not getting the updates from anywhere. And then all of a sudden the information starts to roll out. Well, they're going to play tomorrow. Well, they're going to play this. They're going to wait until 11:15 local time to maybe kick off. Imagine a game ending at 2 a.m. or something like that. So a lot of things, it was just frustration and the fact that we weren't really sure what was going on. And now they ultimately did play. But yeah, it was a frustrating night.
Okay, so what's the overall reaction, I guess, from the two teams and from the fans there? Because I heard like some people didn't have a place to stay. And I've seen everything on social media from like, hey, I get it, to I hate the CFL and I'll never watch a football game again. And I hate the commissioner and I hate the riders. How do you gauge sort of some of the reaction to this?
I mean, I think some fans should rightfully be a little bit ticked off, right? Mostly because there weren't updates. They made the fans sit out there for nearly 4 hours with only saying, well, it's not quite ready yet, but maybe wait till this time. And so I get people getting mad at that. The players, after Trevor Harris, after they eventually played the game, said it was frustrating as a player because you're just waiting. They're not really sure what's going on. And the CFL weather protocol, as we just kind of found out as well, not incredibly well written, because we were all interpreting it in a certain way that the 3-hour delay included if the game didn't kick off on time. That's not the case. They don't have a protocol in place for the game never kicks off or the players aren't warming up yet. They can wait as long as they want, apparently. But the players didn't know that. There's something in there about a mini game kind of being played between the two teams next time they meet. Well, apparently that wasn't the case this time because they managed to make it happen the next day. And credit to the riders and the Stamps for working through it and being able to get all the logistics done. They had to find security. It was Craven this weekend, Country Thunder. A lot of security was out there, but they managed to find enough to do it. The Stamps found places to stay, which included the U of R dorms. I think some of them stayed out of town. They had to find that. There were a whole bunch of logistical challenges they did overcome to make sure this game got played. But from the fan perspective, the lack of communication was frustrating. But all the credit to however many fans, we think we gauged it, maybe about 15,000 fans actually came the next day and went out there. It was still a pretty good crowd considering everything. But that night, a lot of people left angry, and you could tell on social media because, hey, not just the players had to find hotels. A lot of people travel in to Regina to watch that game, and now they had to travel back home at 11:15, 10:45 at night, and just not sure where they're staying, what's going on. They had to travel hours, and they were kind of forced to just wait it out.
Britton Gray joining us here on the Reid Wilkins Show, riders reporter from CJME. I wanted to ask you about that. Dusty earlier on the morning show said that he figured some people were sleeping in their cars in the parking lot. From an organizational standpoint, because this is a major change, this is a massive event, you have a lot of moving parts. How do you think the riders organization handled that? Were there accommodations and exceptions made, especially the next day? I also heard there was maybe not enough food or beer. Like, how was that the next day for the fans that come back? Were there some accommodations made for them?
Yeah, I believe what they did was if you were a season ticket holder, you got a $50 gift card to the rider store for every season ticket you might have. So yeah, 4 season tickets, $200. People who just had the single game tickets, if you came to that game, they gave you a future ticket you can use for a game in the future. So free access to a game there. So that was just some of the things that I know that they did. They allowed fans to bring in their own snacks. They allowed fans to bring in their own non-alcoholic drinks. We had a lot of texts about people asking if they could bring in their own beer. Couldn't bring in your own beer, but non-alcoholic drinks, bring in your own snacks. I think there was still canned beer being served. There was still the draft beer maybe. You had to use debit only at certain places or credit card, no cash. So it was a different game day experience. But like I said, a lot of fans still showed up, and credit to them for doing that. You had to kind of make it work. It was kind of a condensed game day, not the full experience. But once the players started playing, you had everything you kind of expect at Rider games. You had the halftime show. They brought them back. They played again. You had stuff pregame. So good on the Riders for making it happen and giving the fans a little bit something. Oh, they did also offer refunds. If fans wanted a refund, they were offering refunds for those tickets if you couldn't make it. But you had to kind of wait until Monday after the game because everyone else in that organization was trying to make sure that game went ahead.
Well, let's talk about the game. I mean, if you were to look at the stats page, you see, a Calgary net offense of 548 yards, Saskatchewan 427. First downs were close, 25-22 in favor of Calgary. Time of possession was a little off, but I mean, you look at that. You look at the numbers Trevor Harris put up. Where did the discrepancy come to make this game 24-10? What was the big difference?
Empty yards. Trevor Harris said afterwards, those were yards after beatdown because the Riders were beaten down by the time Trevor Harris was putting up any sort of yards. By the time that offense was moving anything was when the Stamps pretty much had it all in grasp. The Riders forced 2 turnovers on the Stamps' first 2 possessions. They didn't muster a first down on either of those. They didn't get a first down until the second quarter. And then when they finally get some momentum, they come out, they score the touchdown in the third quarter to Joe Robustelli. Very next play, Alford goes deep. It's an 81-yard touchdown by Vernon Adams and the Stamps. They just take a 14-point lead. This game was never close. As much as the stats look that way, the Riders looked like they were the ones who had to find accommodations and were sleeping on floors, unlike the Stamps. And it was one of the worst kind of performances I've seen that Rider fans have seen, and we heard about it on the postgame show. A lot of people were disappointed because it never felt like the Riders were ready to play that game, despite it being at home, and despite all those fans who came out, ruined their entire week, not ruined, but completely changed their entire weekends. They went out and saw that type of performance. That it was sad. It was a beatdown, and unfortunately, the Riders now need to bounce back.
All right. They got BC this weekend, right? Which should be a good game. And then they got the Elks. So let me ask you this. I mean, Saskatchewan, Calgary 4-1, Winnipeg's 3-1. Hamilton and Montreal are both 3-2. Though I think Montreal's a better team. But who's the best team in the league right now? What's the Britton Gray power ranking? Well, for the top 3, I'll put you on the spot.
Top 3, I mean, number 1 might be the Calgary Stampeders with how they've not only won, they've dismantled the Bombers. They destroyed the Riders. Like, they are winning in impressive ways, and they look better than any of us would have predicted. That defense is the real deal. So I think the Stamps, number 1. Montreal, number 2, like with Davis Alexander, he still hasn't lost as a starting quarterback, I believe. That team, when he is out there, is still very good, and we'll see if they continue to roll with that. Number 3, I still lean a little bit Saskatchewan, but it's kind of closer now with the Bombers and even Hamilton. But it's one game. If this becomes a trend, that's where you start to get worried. Myself, Jamie, and I, a lot of people have the Riders in the Grey Cup. We still think this is a very good team that you're not going to win every game. You're going to have a game where you kind of just need to throw out the tape, and maybe that's what the Riders need to do here. I have them 3, but I mean, you could flip a coin, or it's their 3-sided coin. Winnipeg should be there. Hamilton's looked very good. It's no longer clear cut once you kind of get rid of those top 2 teams, who's maybe the best team outside of that.
Yeah, unexpected certainly with the Stamps, right? I mean, I think a lot of people had them, behind the Elks.
Defense,
but no
for
one's
sure.
behind the Elks right now.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately. All right. Hey, Britton, we love having you on the show, so we're probably going to bug you again. You're a great analyst. You're a great reporter for the Riders on CJME, and you're very generous with your time. Thanks for structuring your entire day off around being on this show.
Not a problem. Hopefully my dogs weren't barking too loud because I don't think they appreciated me having to step away.
We didn't hear them, but plus we have heard animals, and we just roll through it. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Thanks for doing this.
Not a problem.
That is Britton Gray, CJME Radio in Regina. Terry in the Nasty Chat. This is on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you're on YouTube as well. So the CFL has a new commissioner, and things were supposed to change. All we get is more of the same crap. That 4-hour delay was a joke before they finally called it. Disgusting. Fire the new commissioner, the big uke, with a rebuttal. I can't wait until the next commissioner can control weather and wildfire smoke. The fact they hired this guy knowing he doesn't have that ability is disgusting. And I don't know if Terry was joking or not.
I think, okay, I understand that. I don't think Terry's expecting Stuart Johnston to have the ability to change the wind direction or to, modify or change the smoke levels. But the timeline of it was a bit it was a little much.
Yes.
They could have probably canceled that game earlier as opposed to waiting until 10:45?
Yeah.
Was the final, okay, this is moving on. They probably could have done that at least 2 hours earlier. And by the way, the communication from the league was piss poor. Sorry. That's the truth. It was not as good as it should have been.
Right.
Hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're thinking.
They should have just said if the game doesn't start by 9, it's played tomorrow.
Yes.
Because if you're a fan sitting there, it's like you might have a babysitter. The Riders have fans from all over the province. Come to games.
So that part of it, I can see as being somebody having an issue with. But the fact, not playing the game or the smoke, that's out of anybody's control, obviously.
Yeah.
But what they did have control of was when to call it and just say, look, let's move it to tomorrow.
I wonder, and I almost hesitate to bring this up because it does get into climate stuff that is not a comfortable topic for a lot of people. And there's a lot of different opinions on it. But we have seen some intense storms that maybe we weren't seeing 20 or 30 years ago, right? Certainly, and I think we also are now living in an age where there's a lot more sensitivity to bad things that can happen. Okay, now when there's isn't it lightning within 10K or something like that? They got to stop the game or 5. Look it up. The weather thing's online. When I don't remember a lot of games being postponed from when I was a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might say it's 1 in a million that a player with a helmet gets hit by lightning. You don't want to be the player or team or in the stadium in that game. And certainly you want to keep fans safe. And look, there's a lot. It seems to me there are more fires than there used to be, maybe 20 years ago. And that's good. I remember, I think it was 2019 because it was the last time I did the half marathon. I think the Elks played the night before the half marathon, and then the half marathon was all the running was the next morning, and there was talk about, okay, if the air quality is not this, there won't be a game, and then the marathon people were like, well, yeah, we can't have the marathon. So there's more awareness of bad things that can happen.
Well, social media,
and you got to have
reporting.
But you got to have a real... Okay, so here's on the CFL's website. Each CFL stadium is equipped with multiple air quality sensors to provide real-time readings at the venue. Active smoke systems are monitored in the lead-up and throughout game day. If the air quality health index reaches 8 or above during warm-ups or the game, the on-site league representative will enact the league's air quality procedure, which includes automatically stopping the game and sending teams to their dressing rooms. That's one way to do it. Now, there is another way to do it, Jay. And I'm not suggesting this is what I'm in favor of necessarily, but there is another way to do it. These guys are really good athletes who should have really strong lungs. They can play. If fans don't want to come, they don't have to come.
That's kind of been my thought, is if you go to the general manager of each team and say, do you want to get this rolling? Or do you have players that you think aren't going to be able to handle that? Because, there were several clips that came out. The whole stadium's filled of fans. I know they're not necessarily running or competing in it. But yeah, if both teams are saying, let's do this, we want to go, then go. Now, I don't know if that conversation happened. I honestly don't know. But I think there should be some opportunity for, I don't think common sense is the word, but some way for you to just try and alleviate that right then and there.
Yeah.
And say, because it's not easy to cancel a charter flight back to Calgary. It's not easy to house an entire organization on a moment's notice.
Right.
Oh, by the way, there's one of the biggest Western music or country music festivals happening that weekend in the same city.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's a tough situation no matter, I guess, how you look at it.
Terry is responding in the nest. It says, last week I ripped on the new commissioner and these two guys, Reid and Jay, defended him to no end. Screw that new commissioner. Proved he's not qualified for the job. Do you remember what Terry was talking to about us two last week?
No.
I don't remember what it was. So sorry, Terry. We don't remember the intensity of the conversation. We don't remember the conversation being as intense as you do.
What were we talking about?
I don't even remember. We clearly upset Terry, and the commissioner apparently has already done several things. I guess, Terry, the question would be is what don't you like about the new commissioner?
Yeah.
Because to me, he hasn't been on the job long enough for me to really...
And quite honestly...
There was somebody who wrote to us, I don't know if it was Terry, somebody wrote to us and said that he's not doing anything, but he's actually gone around to each city. I think Edmonton was the last one he arrived at last week. So he is trying to talk to people and get out there. He talked about going to the tailgate here in Edmonton. I mean, Terry, like anybody can say they don't want the commissioner doing that. That's fine. But if you're saying he's not getting out there and talking to people, I think he's trying. Well, I'm not sure. I wish I could remember this conversation. I don't really remember defending the commissioner. I think there are certain things factually that he's done or tried to do. Somebody also wrote in, why is he not showing his face? And he was on Dustin's show that morning.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was Terry. Maybe that's somebody else. Maybe that was somebody else that was upset. I think we got to give this new commissioner time. I think this new commissioner, a big thing is getting a TV deal. That's a massive thing. Certainly you want attendance, you want all those types of things. I think a new TV deal, and as Dustin said, I mean, the TV deal basically pays the salaries in the league, right?
Yeah.
So that's a major thing to do there.
Quite important for the success of this league.
Right. I think, now I'll say this to Terry, and again, I'm sorry, I don't remember what we interacted last week. I think blaming the commissioner for a weather policy that was in place before he got here might be a little excessive. Maybe he's going to say, okay, this didn't work. We need to change it. But I don't think it's necessarily a commissioner is going to come in and say, okay, change the weather policy. That's stupid. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen that way. I mean, he might say, okay, why do we do things this way? And if he gets an answer that seems to be acceptable, he might say, okay, well, I guess we leave it that way then.
Yeah, let us know.
But I also think that that's a job. I mean, same thing with Bettman. Bill Bettman sucks. He hates Canada.
Yeah.
He tells the ref to call games against the Oilers. Okay, sure.
It's always been a thankless job, being a commissioner of a league.
Oh, very much so. Well, and especially, I mean, when it's the Canadian, let's face it, we know what it's like. It's easy to put down the Canadian Football League. It's a pastime for some people. You know, a lot of things went right. Well, let's find one thing that went wrong and say, oh, see, the league's a joke. Just like I told you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, settle down. I'd really like to know what dialogue we had with Terry. I don't remember that. Do you?
No.
Well, why are you upsetting him?
It was regarding lack of attendance in Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary. I also wanted to see better promotion of the league.
Okay, well, and we recognize there are some teams that have really poor attendance. I think in Edmonton's case, which is the easiest one to speak to, it's because the team has stunk. I don't think it's the commissioner's fault that the Edmonton Elks stink. The Elks have 19 wins in the last 4 1/3 seasons. That's terrible.
That's terrible is right.
Yes, if you want to talk about this new commissioner having to find ways to do a better job promoting the league, fair. He's also had the job, 3 months? I mean, these are I don't know. Like, I'm not defending the guy, Terry, but why are you attacking him? Like, what are you so pissed off about? Like, okay, yeah. Like, yes, let's promote the league better. Yes, that's a challenge. How do you do it? You got the answer, Terry, or you're so damn angry you don't even want to see the league succeed, apparently. You just want to crap on it. So, like, Terry, can the CFL do anything that's going to make you happy? Or are you just convinced that you're only going to point out bad things about it? I mean, that's my question to you. Okay, you're bloody miserable at the CFL. Congratulations, Terry. Give yourself a pat on the back. Whoopity-doo. The commissioner sucks. The attendance sucks. All the players suck. The broadcasters who talk about it suck. People who like it suck. Congratulations, Terry. Everybody sucks, and you're the genius who's pointed it out. Coo-coo ka-choo. Welcome to Monday. I hope your week only gets better. Like, oh my God.
He should have went to Def Leppard.
He should have gone to Def Leppard. Might have been happy about something for once. 780-218-9999. It's the River Cree Resort Casino inbox. That's how you text us. River Cree Resort Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant. All you can eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. Here comes the Coop.
The Oilers shake things up by adding Paul McFarland, Peter Aubry, and Conor Allen to their coaching staff. Paul Coffey being shifted back to an advisor role. Aubry taking over as a goalie coach, while Dustin Schwartz has been let go by the team. Allen stepping in as a skills coach. McFarland becoming the assistant. Out east, the Islanders have signed this year's 16th overall pick Victor Eklund to an entry-level deal. While on the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from a blood clot issue that limited him to just 46 games last season. And even with the shortened season, the 21-year-old led the league in blocks. NFL news sees 24-year-old Garrett Wilson signing for 4 years with the Jets, worth a total of $130 million, $90 million guaranteed. Elsewhere, longtime Jays pitcher Jim Clancy has passed away. Clancy spending 12 of his 15 major league seasons with the Jays, being a part of the All-Star team in 1982. Clancy was 69 years old. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since 93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, they have plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. The Reid Wilkins Show returns after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
Summer in Edmonton means three things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Avocado and feta dip, passion fruit cheesecake, and cocktails that taste like summer in a glass. Try the new feature menu at The Banquet. Refreshing, craveable, and made for sunny days. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it. Kayaks, bikes, camping gear? Make space for summer fun with Sentinel Storage. Spend more time on adventures with your outdoor gear and less time looking for them. Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
All right, good to have you tuning in this afternoon. Jason Milne, Reid Wilkins, Zachary Kubish. We are in The Banquet Studio Spin to Win Fridays at the Banquet. Spin the wheel for a chance to win big and save on your bill. Details at thebanquetbar.com. You got any limericks today? Jay at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
We do. We got a couple here. The first one's from Bronco Nick. Double E were boys playing against men. Eaten alive, not even in the lion's den. Times are tough. Ford looks rough. As Townie from Waterboy said, "Oh no, we suck again."
That's quite funny, actually.
This one comes in from VR Montenegro.
He sent in some music as well.
It's embarrassing that these umpires get paid despite some of the horrendous calls they have made. I'd rush out to debate and to dust up the plate. Perhaps hurl the rosin bag like a hand grenade. Clearly not a fan of umpires.
That's good. We get to get limericks on the show.
Well, we did get some clips that came from after the game last night that we're going to dive into right here. The first one from Coach Killam is quite short and quite sweet, but it might summarize a bit of that game. Go ahead.
Yeah, just got completely beat in all three phases, got out-coached.
There it is, folks.
Okay, well, that's a good summary, I guess.
Got beat in all three phases and out-coached. Do you think they got beat in special teams?
Well, they did give up a punt return touchdown that was called back by an illegal block.
I guess, yeah.
Which I guess you could say it wouldn't have been a return, perhaps, without the illegal block.
That was a pretty bad look. They had him pinned to the sideline.
Yeah, I thought he stepped out of bounds.
And then he turned it into a touchdown. Killam also talked on Fajardo coming in for Ford. We both thought maybe that should have happened a bit earlier in the game. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to roll him. I said it on the headset at the start of the fourth quarter, but then we couldn't get off the field on D. I don't know. I think they went on a 6-7 minute drive. So, I mean, it looked like cleanup time. I was trying to give them a little bit more time just to try to give us a spark.
Do you think they should have put Fajardo in sooner than when he came in?
Yes.
What point?
Oh, I might have started the second half with him, quite frankly.
I agree with you. I know we were talking about it earlier with Dusty and Maddie, and they both figured maybe give Trey the first kick at the can in the second half, to which they went 2 and out, and then put Fajardo in. I could, I got ears for that, but I thought that just given the way the game is going, to keep Fajardo on the sideline for that long was a bit of a mistake.
It was 24-7 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can't wait. If it's 17-7, okay, maybe you want to give Ford one more, or even 17-14, but it wasn't. It was virtually almost over at halftime. So well, yeah. I would have put Fajardo in. Ford wasn't doing anything. I'm just looking at the line score. I'm stunned the Lions only scored 8 points in the second half. It feels like they got another 20. But
well, they just suffocated.
Yeah,
the double E. They stayed on the field.
It's like playing keep away in a sport where it's not.
Well, they kept the ball away from them.
They just kept the ball away from them.
Trey Ford was asked about his struggles leading into the game or throughout the game. Here's what he had to say.
I'd say a little bit, right? I mean, it just kind of happened again. I think the offense has to help out the other phases, right? They help out us, right? Defense got to stop, and we're able to score off of it. They got a turnover. I thought our special teams has played well all year. But again, offensively, right, we had a lot of 2 and outs. Struggled to run the ball today too. It just wasn't our day. Wasn't our day. So
sure wasn't.
Do you want to see? I mean, Killam, when you looked at him, if you're watching on YouTube, he looked like an angry man. Does it bother you at all to see Trey Ford take a post-game interview in that manner?
I don't. As you know, I don't really get bothered by that.
Okay.
I if an athlete comes out and screams and throws things around and cries, then he looks like he's out of control. And then you're saying, maybe not you necessarily, but I think then people could say, well, how can he lead a team if he can't even focus in a post-game interview? I mean, Ricky Ray was very quiet and stoic most of the time, but he hit his passes. He didn't lose a lot.
Ricky Ray was a good quarterback.
Right. So to me, it just comes down to on the field, and Ford wasn't good enough on the field. And look, we knew going into the season that might be possible.
Yeah.
That maybe he wouldn't be. This was still going to be the test. They were going to give him a chance. Well, they're 1-4, and in 3 of those games, they haven't been close. I would say both BC games and the Montreal game, they were pretty much throttled. Now, that's not all on Ford, but some of it is on the quarterback for sure. So I don't really put too much, like he's not going to come out there and say, well, you know, this part of the team sucks and it's this guy's fault or whatever. Most guys are going to be calm post game. I'm more interested in Killam saying that they got out-coached. Now, is that just him taking it on himself and the coaching staff instead of blaming the players? Or is this actually a learning opportunity for him and the other coaches? And if so, how did they get out-coached?
How?
Yeah.
They didn't stick to their offensive game plan.
Yeah,
they threw out the window.
Yeah.
Defensively, I don't know what the game plan was. If it was to, and truthfully, Reid, it could have been to let them have the underneath stuff and eliminate the big play, of which they didn't do. But there is something to be said about that, is to allow them the 5-yard plays, allow them, you know, those quick hitters passing wise and rally to it.
Which they did against Ottawa.
Yep.
But Rourke is better than Drew Brown. It's not close. So he's going to find guys. His release, I mean, there's a reason the NFL looked at him. He gets the ball out quick and he puts it on the spot. So he can't do it quite well enough in the NFL. He can do it more than well enough in the CFL. So, I mean, maybe we have to consider the quality of the opponent here, but the Elks don't look close to being able to beat the BC Lions in the 2 games they played them this season. They don't look close to be able to beat them.
And, I mean, they couldn't stop the run. That was the first game where they really got exposed in the run game. They've been pretty darn good against the run game this year.
Mm-hmm.
That has not been their Achilles heel. It was last night. Butler had 30 carries for 172 yards. 5.7 yards per carry. You can't win with 30 rushes efficiently. And meanwhile, and I've said this before, I mean, between Justin Rankin and Javon Leake, they rushed the ball 5 times. 4 of them were in the first half.
Yeah, they totally went away from it.
So I think they did get out-coached. I think that's a fair statement. Now, Killam also got out-coached too, because he's the leader of that group.
Oh, sure.
So lots of work to be done, for sure.
Yeah, I did, and I'm really, it's pretty discouraging yesterday. And now you got a body of work of 5 games. I mean, we're almost at a third of the season. You know, like in football, you get in there pretty quick. And if they would have won yesterday, okay, 2-3 is still not a great record, but everybody within the West is within reach. You know, or you're saying like, well, they're capable. Like if they would have won yesterday, I would have thought, you know what, maybe they're still not a great team, but they're capable of beating anybody.
Yes.
Now, after the first 5 games of the season, I say to myself, they are flat out not capable of beating at least half the teams in the league. Even if they play well, which they basically did in Winnipeg, they still couldn't win. So it's either, if they play a good team, they either lose a close game or they get chewed up. Hey, you might beat Ottawa when you play them again. Maybe Toronto is not going to turn out to be that good. I guess we'll still see on Hamilton, though they're looking pretty good. So who do you look at and like, I hate to say this, guys. What is the path to the Elks winning 4 games this season? I'm not saying that just to be a jerk. The Elks have 1 win in 5 games, right? That's a 200 win percentage. The season is 18 games long. So 0.2 times 18, hang on, is 3.6. Well, you can't win 0.6 of a game. So based on their current pace, the Elks will win either 3 or 4 games this season. That's just the math of it. Now, yes, they haven't played everybody. They've played one team twice. But you look at how the other teams are playing. Who do they beat? Who are they better than? Now, maybe a quarterback change helps. Maybe Fajardo can move the ball, put some pressure on other teams' defenses, put some pressure on. Because, like, if BC had to punt or kick, it was like, whatever, we'll get the ball back in 3 plays.
Yes.
And go again.
There was nothing in that Elks offense that scared them. And that is a problem, Reid. Who do you think has the most pressure on them? Anyone inside that locker room, who do you think has the most pressure on them leading into the next game against Saskatchewan?
Ford. If he's the quarterback.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Trey Ford's been known for throwing a good deep ball. He has. He's been, you know, he's done it. That's probably one of the best throws he makes. So was it just an off night? Was it just an awful off night for Trey Ford?
I don't think we can say that looking at the last 3 years, where, yes, he had a coach that didn't commit to him like this coaching staff was committing to him, but he has shown that against good teams, he
struggles.
Basically never wins.
Yep.
I mean, I guess he's got a couple wins in Saskatchewan. Okay. I mean, they swept the home and home with Calgary last year. Calgary was awful last year. I mean, he hasn't been able to beat Winnipeg, hasn't been able to beat BC. And again, it's not all on him. I think there are some other issues here. You know, some other guys that Ed signed that haven't been performing. It's just very frustrating because it felt so hopeless yesterday. It felt like it already felt like here we go again.
Well, and the only injection of offense that led to a score, at least for Trey Ford, was off of a turnover that went off of a player's helmet.
Which was a fluke play. I mean, Seresta's still going to jump up and catch it, but
it gave them immediate scoring position.
Right.
Almost the red zone. That was the only offense that Trey Ford and that offense were able to put together.
Right.
So it's a huge test. I do agree. I've kind of talked myself into saying that, yes, I think you would give Trey Ford the ball. I think they will. Because they really need to see what kind of gumption he has. And give him the chance to make up for a game in which he looked downright awful.
It just feels like, oh, here's another season where we're experimenting with the quarterback.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, Trey Ford was crowned as the next great thing here in Edmonton, and it hasn't looked that way thus far.
No, not at all.
Not to say that can't pan out, but it hasn't looked good thus far.
Well, at what point do you stop saying he's developing? You know, at what point? I mean,
pretty soon. Certainly after this season.
I mean, if you're going to be great, I know that maybe this isn't a fair comparison. Like Ricky Ray's first start, you were like, oh my God, there's something there.
Yes. So maybe, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, who's taking first team reps when they come back from bye week.
You can text us 780-218-9999. That's the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Here comes the Coob, and then we got our words of the day.
The Oilers make some changes to their coaching staff, letting go Dustin Schwartz while shifting Paul Coffey to an advisory role under ownership and hockey operations. 3 new coaches were brought in, with Paul McFarland as an assistant, Conor Allen as a skills coach, Peter Aubry joining the squad to focus on goaltending. And from New York, the Islanders inked Victor Eklund to his entry-level contract, Eklund being selected 16th overall in this year's draft. Well, in the NFL, Garrett Wilson and the Jets have agreed to a 4-year, $130 million deal, $90 million guaranteed. On the court, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return to action, recovering from blood clot issues, limiting him to just 46 games last season. And in baseball, Jim Clancy has passed away after finishing second in franchise starts, innings pitched, and complete games for the Jays. Clancy was 69 years old. The words of the day and the final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
So you may remember recently on this show, I think you were away that day, Jay, but I interviewed Carson Latimer from the Edmonton Riverhawks, the guy that's approaching 100 on the radar gun. Great story. He has been drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in the 12th round of the Major League Baseball draft. Riverhawks just posting this a few minutes ago at 5:42, actually, less than 10 minutes ago. This summer, a .85 ERA. Under 1 is good. 99.2 mile an hour fastball, believed to be the fastest in West Coast League history. So Carson Latimer from the Riverhawks, drafted in the 12th round of the Major League Baseball draft by the Cincinnati Reds. Good stuff for him. And yes, a guest recently on the Reid Wilkins show. 334. Don't they do like 60 rounds or something in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, it's a long draft.
So good for him. Good opportunity.
Do you think you could bunt a 99 mile an hour pitch?
Oh God, no. I mean, like people say, well, could you hit a pitch? Well, I would just hold my bat in the strike zone.
Yeah, do you think you could just try and like just make contact? Not like even just swinging, just like holding it there.
Even that would be tough.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to go down there and see if I could catch a heater, a four-seam fastball from a pitcher there and see how many out of 10 I could
we could
catch.
probably do that. You'd be able to do it.
You got to get in touch. No, the doubters were out in our office. We should do that one day. You and I go down there. We meet them in the morning. You take BP. I take
wear
catching.
Like full armor.
I'd step behind plate. I'd get in there and take some catches.
You'd probably be good at it because you're actually someone with an athletic background.
I'd love to try. I think I'd be fine. That all started when I brought my catcher's mitt in.
Oh, right.
Because I used to be a catcher.
Oh, right.
When I played.
Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. Why limit your choices when you can have it all? Play Alberta is your go-to app for casino games, sports betting, and lottery all in one place with easy access to real money games. You can enjoy everything Play Alberta has to offer right at your fingertips. Download Play Alberta now. Start playing today. All right, we're in the final few minutes of the show. It is time for Words of the Day.
The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
All right.
Okay, the first word of the day, contrite. Contrite.
Contrite. Contrite. And contrite means sort of like apologetic and sort of basically apologetic.
Contrite is a formal adjective used to describe someone who feels regret for their bad behavior or something such as an apology that shows such regret.
Yeah, I was going to say apologetic and almost regretful.
Wow, you really would have nailed that.
I should have said that.
Second word of the day, impunity. Impunity.
Well, these are easy spelling ones.
Reid, I just get what I get, you know?
IMPUNITY. And impunity just sort of means like with a relentlessness and showing no mercy. Like Coob beat me with impunity at Tecmo in a 60-0 victory. Those were not challenging at all today. You should have heard one of the ones Coob gave me last week. It had like 24 letters in it.
What was it?
He couldn't even pronounce it.
It was a 2-word word, wasn't it?
It was shocking.
Yeah, I went for the weird ones.
I just go off what I go off. Which will never be told.
That's a
4 out of 4.
That's a very easy 4 out of 4 for me today. What is the exact definition of impunity?
Impunity, usually used in the phrase with impunity, refers to exemption or freedom from punishment, harm, or loss.
Well, say it again.
With impunity.
Yeah.
Exemption or freedom from punishment, harm, or loss.
Oh, so I didn't quite get it then, because I said relentless. So it also means you can crush somebody and not be. I don't think I got the definition close enough. I think I'm a 3.5.
Yeah,
personally.
We'll take off half.
Yeah.
3.5 out of 4. We can't give you a 4 out of 4.
No. So it's like you can do something with almost relentless, but knowing that there's going to be no repercussions.
Yeah.
Right?
But I might bump you up the half point for your rant on Terry M. That was good.
Terry M loved every minute of it.
Of course he did. It's fun. We're having fun.
Trust me. Terry M was thrilled.
Good. Appreciate you listening, Terry.
M was
Keep tuning in.
Thrilled. Yeah, no, it was good.
We take all the comments. Good, bad, or indifferent.
We got music being played.
Yeah, I guess that means we're
What's
done.
going on? Coop's played us off.
We're not leaving.
Coop's fed up today. All right, great show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Ref Week resumes tomorrow with basketball ref Karen Lasuk from just outside of Edmonton. Has ref basketball in the Olympics. She does Division I games, so that's pretty cool. On behalf of Zachary Kubish and the Glue Guy, I'm Reid. Take care.